had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans. Good evening. Oh, my camera is out of whack.
Hi, Heidi. Good to see you. Much love from Pittsburgh.
Hey, Heidi. Welcome to UFO Undercover. Our fearless leader, Joe, is in Los Angeles for the awards this week, Rise of the Future and whatnot. So we're flying solo. I don't know what that one means.
GTSY. Good timing. I don't. What's that mean, Heidi?
Yeah, you got us
Don't
on
know
that.
that.
Don't know that one. Anyway, so lots of things have been happening. I haven't had a chance to watch the news. I've been so busy. Do you think, Sean, Trump is warmongering?
Do I think he's warmongering? No, I don't. I think
I think he is. Look, he is threatening to bomb Iran. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, Iran threatened us.
They've been threatening us for years, and it's like,
Still, but that. Well, look at you got Biden learned from what Wayne Marlowe's. Okay.
Oh, good to see you. That's what it means.
Good to see you. Thank you, Heidi. But no, Jay, back to what we were talking about there. I don't think he's warmongering. I think he's he got some balls now. You know what I mean? Because we're so
harassment. So yeah, I mean,
well,
no,
but I'm
no
just
other
saying.
president's really come out and said he was just going to flat out bomb them. I don't even think Reagan said he was going to bomb them.
Well, it don't matter. I mean, we had to take back our country. I mean, we had to show the people and show the world that, hey, we're not messing around anymore.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are crying because the Dow Jones, the stock market's going down. But actually, if you look at it, it isn't. Okay.
But all the analysts and Trump himself have said, even though he says he's going to work on the economy, we're not going to see anything for at least the first 2 years. So they say that it probably will get worse, before it gets better. So and we've been seeing some fluctuations. I mean, gas was $2.89. Now it's up to $3.25 in places. I think it's gone up here. I haven't looked yet, but I'll bet you it's gone up outside.
Well, we're still at 348 up here in Pittsburgh, so it's just. I mean, what was it? 4 something when Biden got in, something like that. No. It's about time someone had some balls to start saying. I mean, Jay, for the longest time,
$5. That did happen.
Yeah, it did. But for the longest time, we just sat around and let other countries,
it's going up 20 cents here,
rob us, man. I mean, seriously. So now it's time to take America back. And what he's doing is all his promises that he was making on when he was out there doing this thing before the election, he's making his promises made, dude. I mean,
when did he promise to bomb Iran? I mean, is he filling a promise to
Iran? Well, because the Houthis are under Iran. Hey, Kurt, good to see you. The Houthis who've been hitting our shits for the longest time, dude. All right.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
Under Iran,
not just our ships. I mean, they've been hitting civilian freight ships and cruise ships and everything.
Exactly. So, and they're under Iran. Iran gives them everything they want in order to do this.
Well,
so
I guess it's true. If you want to kill a snake, you attack the head. But
you do.
Because
I mean, we were sitting.
It seems like if he does that, do you think that's he's gonna stop there? What if he decides, well, while we're taking over Iran, why don't we go ahead and take over Greenland too?
To me, Greenland's a touchy subject over there. Okay. I really don't know where he wants to go with Greenland, but he is smart. If we get Greenland, man, it will protect us from China and Russia. All he's doing is protecting people. Look at the tariffs he threw on the other countries, reciprocal ones. I mean, come on, Jay. We've been living under the thumb we've been living I'm 63, going to be 63, and all the other nations, all the other countries are just using us, dude.
Yeah.
We're using us. And we're so used to growing up.
You gotta look at this with Trump. You gotta watch what he's doing, because right now he's taking a lot of money away from the SNAP program. And like in Nevada,
not just SNAP. I mean, how much money did they seize or come into contact with or control of? Like 1.2 trillion or something dollars.
In Nevada, I'm saying in Nevada, they're cutting funding to food banks, which is crucial for people. I mean, otherwise they will starve. So you gotta have a balance. It's gotta be balanced. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think starting a war in the Middle East is a good idea to start balancing. I think the better war intelligence play is what he started off saying.
He would have unleashed it already. He would have unleashed the planes. He would have started that war already if he wanted to. He's been so patient with them over there.
Yeah, the game of risk. It always ends up in the Ukraine. The one thing nobody wants.
Well, Asia's the hardest continent to conquer, so why not start in the Middle East? But he's not. I mean, I don't think he intends on just starting and just doing that. I mean, it sounds like he might even, consider military actions against Canada to turn it into the 51st state. Or the 51
but
through
see,
whatever.
Where are you getting that from, Jay? That's a bunch of horseshit.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
He knows for a fact he can't go in. He can't go into Canada. Dude.
I don't know. It's just a question I had, because it's he seems like he's trying to play the good guy at first, and now all of a sudden he wants to bomb Iran. And
nothing wrong with bombing Iran.
Maybe he's being sarcastic when he's joking about taking over Greenland, but I mean, he's at least said it.
Nothing wrong with bombing Iran. They've got to fix this. You know what? Iran needs to be settled before they get a nuclear warhead. They need to be settled. And it needs to be now. Not tomorrow, not a year from now, not 10 years from now. Iran needs to be settled down. The people there don't want that government in there. You know what I mean? So just blow the crap out of them, let the people take over, and just let it be. Let it be.
Exactly,
Take Khomeini and shoot him into space. You know what I mean?
And then that's the truth, Jay. Because look, like Michael said, and I forgot about that they got nuclear warheads over there.
Let Israel go in there and settle their hash.
But they're not stupid enough to use one. If they use one on anyone,
how do you know that, Jay?
I'm sure they have.
Mark
I'm sure they have.
Man, it's their jihad. They're sworn to do that. They're crazy, man. It's crazy. You ever listen to them? They're nuts.
I don't agree with Trump at all that we bomb them first. I say we let them do something stupid, like launch a nuclear weapon, and then we sack their ass.
Preemptive strike.
Then we come off as the bad guy.
Preemptive strikes are
planet-wide. We come off as the bad guy, the aggressor.
Well, here's the deal. Iran launched one, so they're not even going to make halfway over to the ocean. We'll get it. And then Iran's done.
Okay, perfect scenario. Let's say they launch one, we intercept it and make it, not explode. Then we sack their ass. That's what let them be the aggressor. No, otherwise we get all the bad press.
We always do get the bad press.
Yeah,
because we're big and bad and everybody hates us. But let them do something horrible, and then we beat the living shit out of them.
They've already done horrible stuff. It's Iran, man. I mean, take your pick.
I don't think they've done anything that the Geneva Convention
would killed and destroyed. They've already done horrible stuff.
You know what? According to Iran, man,
stop them before it gets worse.
Hey, Joe Fox is here.
Yes, and Michael's right. You got to stop them. You have to realize, and this is the way I look at it. Okay, they are supplying the Houthis with all these bombs that are launching on American naval ships plus other ships. They're giving it to them. Tell me Iran ain't aggressing by giving them all this crap so they can do the shitty work for Iran.
Yeah,
the way I look at that,
Iran can say, "No, we didn't give them anything." It's a he said, she said.
The way I look at that is, okay, Iran's saying, okay, Mr. Houthis, You go over there and do our dirty work, or we sit back and laugh and wait till America pulls one of them ballistic missiles or nuclear weapons.
I don't even know if we need to do that so much. Just park a whole bunch of them right off of the coast nearby them, and
they're
just...
right there. They're right there, and all they're doing. The United States Navy was mainly on the defense for a long time. Now they're launching, and they're not bombing all of the Houthis. I mean, the Houthis. I mean, the people that live in Yemen. Okay, just different targets that the Houthis have. You know what I mean? I don't think Trump wants a war. I know he don't want a war.
Well, he's threatening it. I don't know what he's going to do to stop it. I guess he's going to use his favorite word on them and tariff the living shit out of them.
Is it a war? I don't think it's a war. I don't think Iran fights back. I think that we could just cream them in 24 hours, not even. I
That's
bet you
exactly
we could
right.
Just destroy them
Michael
in
Anthony
maybe 6
says
hours.
someone on.
I mean,
yeah,
completely.
Michael's right. Michael Anthony is right.
Of course he's right. It's Michael.
Yeah, that's why I say instead of us doing the dirty work first, let Iran do something. Let not just the Houthis and their 7 or 8 little tribal terrorist groups that are out there. Let Iran do something stupid. Then we can beat the living shit out of them, and no one will say a thing.
They already have, man. You don't need much more of an excuse to go after somebody. You don't even need an excuse. They're sworn to kill innocent people. They're terrorists. They're a terrorist state. What excuse do you need? You go in there and just settle their hash. Let Israel do it. Let them do the dirty work, man. We already gave them the bombs. Trump gifted them 1,800 5,000-pound bombs. Wow. And it wasn't just for nothing. They're going to use them. They're going to use them, and they're ready. And they've got the plan. They've got the Saudis' plan. They already know what it's going to happen. They already know what the outcome is going to be. Because it's going to swoop right through. They took an F-35. And one of the pilots, when they first got them, flew all through Iran, all through around the Russian weapon systems and all that stuff. No one detected him. They didn't even know he was there, man. And then he was like just planning bombing missions the whole time of what he would blow up, man. So Iran, they're in the Stone Age, and they don't even understand the hurting that's going to come.
Well, and most of the equipment that Iran has are F-15s from the 80s that we gave them.
Let Trump do what he's got to do, because he needs to do what he's got to do. He's a necessary evil. No matter if you like him or hate him, doesn't matter. Because there's things that need to happen.
If you start the war outright, I'm not going to agree with that. I think that's just outright stupid. It's just making us the bad guy, the aggressor. But if he terrorists the living shit out of them and puts more and more sanctions on them and cuts off their supply of all the stuff they need, then maybe they'll want to come to the table and talk. But like you said, they're fanatic. Their government is fanatic. Jihadist type people.
They tried to assassinate Trump. What more do you need? You know what I mean? Good enough. Try to assassinate the American president. We're going to come for you. We're going to come for you, and you're not even going to believe it. You're not even going to believe it.
Michael's right on that one. I mean, I just see that Iran is going to turn into a sea of glass, dude. It will happen.
Well, honestly, I've been saying that for years. I mean, since high school, I've been saying, why don't we just blow that entire place up, give everybody, a month's time, move now, and then on, day 31, it's going to be Sunblock 3000 or you're dead.
Take out Khomeini. Blow his palace up, man.
The whole area. Egypt, Israel, the whole area. I would say
Egypt,
destroy it all. Give everybody a chance to get that F out of there.
Down with us, man.
And
Egypt
turn it into, like Sean said, a sea of glass.
Trump's plan of the Gaza
40 years ago.
Egypt agreed with it, man. So did Saudi. So it's weird what's happening. I'll tell you, man. But they all hate Iran, even Saudi Arabia.
Well, a lot of people. But still, they're all of the same mentality.
We took out Saddam. Saddam was the one controlling Iran. He was the one with a 12-year war, and we were giving him all kinds of missiles and all kinds of stuff, and we took out Saddam, and then that was the beginning of the end. And I miss Baghdad Bob. You know what I mean? Baghdad Bob. You're out there somewhere in hell. I know you are. But Baghdad Bob. No, really, man. Think about the concept that man, that controlling factor, Iran is now the only real terrorist state. It was the axis of evil. You got North Korea, you got Iran.
it's not just Iran. That whole region has been in conflict constantly. I don't know. I'm only 60 years old. I'll be 60 in October this year.
You old guy, you.
I haven't known a single decade in those 60 years where there hasn't been some armed conflict in that region.
Right, but it never dealt with us.
Huh?
The only one we had was Iran, Desert Storm.
No, I'm not talking about the United States being war. I'm talking about the Middle East. Middle East has been in armed conflict constantly, in different conflicts. They change and they migrate, but there's been some violent armed conflict in that area for 60 years
the very
and
first
beyond.
War on
I'm only alive 60 years, and I don't know a decade where they haven't been fighting each other with bullets.
The first
Blow
recorded
the place up and start from scratch.
The first recorded war on the planet was in a desert called Armageddon, which is Iraq, Iran, that whole area there. A desert called Armageddon, and then guess what? It's going to end up there too. That's going to be the beginning of the end for the most part.
Again, spot on, Mr. Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely.
We created Saddam Hussein. We created our own destruction of two large buildings and the defacing of another.
I mean, it just... How many times... What was the big rumor going around, like if Trump gets in, he's going to go in and bomb the shit out of Gaza because they're still holding American...
Oh, no,
hostages.
now he wants to buy Gaza and turn it into a Trump Plaza hotel.
It's crumbling.
Right, exactly.
But freaking desert. Why would you want to do anything there? I mean, I don't understand it. But
so why? But you said you don't understand why he hasn't done nothing there, Jay. But in return, you're saying you're calling him a warmonger, going after Iran, and Hezbollah is under Iran.
Yes, they are. Well, I mean, it was just it was a conversation starter, and I think we have a good conversation going. But do you think maybe he's doing this as a favor for Benjamin Netanyahu? Stepping in.
Why would we want to do that for him? My God, their armies, but
they're buddies, dude. Did you just see them when they met? They're arm in arm.
Yeah. So Putin and Xi, same way. Come on, they're friends with Trump. They're no dumbasses. They are no dumbasses.
No, you're right. I know.
He went
They're
after
not
them.
dumbasses.
It's about time that somebody did. We've been funneling cash to Iran. How does that help us? The billions we've given them. How does that help us? I mean, Iran. They pray every day. Before they pray, they say "Death to America, death to Israel." Yeah. And you want to preserve that somehow? We give
millions of dollars to Pakistan.
So at some point, they're going to have nuclear warheads, and they're going to use them against innocent people. And is that really the world that you foresee?
Well, Michael, how about this? We gave millions and millions of dollars to Pakistan, who used some of that money to build $1 million compound for Osama bin Laden.
Pakistan's
got here's the thing. They do have nuclear weapons. Why didn't Trump decide to threaten them with a bomb?
So is India, but Pakistan's not out of control. Pakistan's not out of control like Iran. Iran is a terrorist state. Pakistan is not a terrorist state. Iran is a terrorist state.
They housed Osama bin Laden and hid him from us for years, even though we knew he was there.
We knew he was there. There wasn't.
They built a complex for him with our money. Why aren't we bombing the shit out of Pakistan?
Because they're not a terrorist state.
Osama bin Laden destroyed 2 buildings.
Believe it or not, even Afghanistan is not considered a terrorist state, but Iran is. That's for sure.
They housed the terrorists. They housed a known enemy to the United States.
But either way,
why aren't we bombing the shit out of Pakistan?
It's something that needs to happen. Iran, the current theocracy, does not need to be preserved. There's no reason to do it. So it's that simple.
No, I mean, it just... No, Trump really wanted to go after Iran. He'd done it already.
I think we'd have already sent troops.
I don't like threatening Greenland. I don't like threatening anything really. But if you're going to go after a terrorist state,
yeah. But when he said that, was he being for real or was he being sarcastic? I mean, is he going to do an armed attack on Greenland? I don't know. I don't think so.
Why would he do that?
58,000 people there.
He alluded to that in several interviews.
He alluded it because it's Donald Trump. It's the way he talks.
Yeah.
He just says shit off the top of his head.
58,000.
Yeah, but then sometimes that shit he says off the top of his head happens.
58,000 people in Greenland, and what do they have? Denmark's army? Come on.
He said he was going to drain the swamp. How many people has he fired this year so far? Hundreds of people.
Right. So why would? Do you know if he would attack Greenland, he would be done. He would be done. That's bullshit. He'd be done.
Really?
Everything he's doing now, and everything he's going to do, he was elected to do.
Yeah.
People were sick of it. They're sick of it, and here it comes.
Here it comes. Well, we can speculate all we want until we're blue in the face whether he's going to attack Greenland or even bomb the shit out of Iran. But my 2 cents is let Iran itself, let the country of Iran, not its little, fringe groups, do something. Let Iran proper do something absolutely stupid, then bomb the living shit out of it. Turn it into
they already have.
They already launched, for everybody else.
They launched hundreds of missiles against Iran, except they were all shot down. But still, that's what they did. If they had nukes, they would do that too.
Yeah, that would be a good. You could try that.
They will eventually, man. They'll have nukes eventually.
I think they already do. To be honest with you guys.
But what I'm looking at here, maybe I'm foreseeing the future in the wrong matter, but I think the people out in the Middle East, Egypt and all them, are going to go after Iran. Iran's going to screw up. Okay, and then the Middle East is going to go after Iran.
Why doesn't Saudi Arabia go after them? Why doesn't Israel go after them?
They want us to do it.
Let them fight it out.
They want us to do it. They said that they would give their airspace.
Why should we be involved?
They would give their airspace to Israel to fly over and go bomb Iran.
Exactly.
Israel's flying F-18s and F-14s or F-15s, I think. So I think if they went against Iran, it would be fairly well matched.
Well, Matt, Israel would just dominate. They dominate.
Only because they have the F-18, I think. But other than that, I think it's. I think it would be a tough war for them.
F-35s, man. I mean, they can just swoop right in and do what they got to do.
If they have F-35s, then yeah, Israel wins. But or F-22s even. But if with F-18s and F-15s, if that's all they got, it's hit or miss. And they're a smaller
probably country. Better than what Iran has.
Iran has F-15s too. We supplied them with the same equipment Israel has in the 80s.
Can't get parts, man. With an embargo, they can't get anything.
We're still sending them parts. I'm sure. I guarantee you, we're sending them parts for this thing.
Maybe Biden through the back door.
Guarantee you, he did. I would guarantee you, 100%. Biden was sending F-15 and airplane parts to Iran and Iraq.
Be a war criminal, man. That's an embargo against the terrorists.
And Michael got it right here. Trump is the global leader. Sanctions and tariffs were his first move, and they are as well working. Not yet with everyone, but they're signing on. Peace before blood is words.
Let's hope. I hope you're right, Michael. I really do. I thought this would be a good subject because he's threatening to bomb Iran, and I think we did that one pretty good. But what do you guys think about? I don't think we're going to do polls today because I don't know where Joe pulls his polls from. So, what do you guys think of the administration's? How well have they done? What's their popularity rating?
If I give them a rating on 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, I give them about a 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give him about a 7.5. And that's what, only 2-3 months into his presidency.
Right.
Okay. All that bullshit going on with Pete. And that was a mole. You know what I mean? That was a mole. They set Pete up, but it didn't work. Pete's still in.
So 7.5 on their how well they've done their administration. What about popularity wise?
Popularity wise, I'd give it about an 8, 9. Easy.
Oh, I give them a 10. He's at the top
No
of the
one's
news
perfect. No one's
every
perfect.
day of the week. So I think he's a 10 on popularity. And I'm agree with you on the efficiency rating. It's 7.5, 8, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start to see also if his Doge did what it's supposed to do, are we going to actually see a better physical working government?
I think so.
I hope
I
so.
think so. 75 days. Thanks, Mike. He says 75 days in, and look.
Yeah.
Hey, Roseanne, good to see you, hon. But it's like, I think he's doing a fantastic job. We got America back, and you know what? When it comes to 2028, until the Democrats talk blue in the face, J.D. Vance will be our next president. I do believe. I have no doubt in my mind.
I have already predicted J.D. Vance as the winning president for next year, or for the next election, rather, which will be in about 3. It's true. We still have a ways to go. They are full 10 on everything, but that's good. I'm glad you like that. I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Trump's talking about third term, man.
And then the reason why I give him an 8 is because, and I don't know why Sean gave me, the reason I give him an 8 is because we're only 3-4 months in, 5 months in.
Hey, Mike, who's that chick that told Trump about those 3 people that Trump fired? Did you read that? Did you read that, Mike?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bud.
You're kind of low.
Not too good. You're kind of low.
This microphone sucks ass, man. I'll tell you. It does.
Time to get a new one. But what? Some activist lady,
No, I think this cord is busted. I got the same one Joe has, and I know that the cord is messed up on it sometimes.
That's why I used the thing off my camera here. This Logi camera. That's nice, man. It's nice.
I'm using the mic in my laptop and an external camera.
Roseanne has a good question. Can Donald Trump run as JD's VP?
Yes, he can. We determined that several shows ago. He can run as president or as vice president, and if JD Vance somehow is immobilized or taken out of the presidency, Donald Trump can play out that presidency until the end.
All right. Michael says, look at all the monies will be back in our hands. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. 4.7 trillion discovered, much of it being returned, stopped, blocked. Now let's look into NASA. It's $45 million spending a day. And look who just got caught in Texas for never telling Social Security her grandmother passed away.
Yeah, but where's my check? Where's my check?
Well, you'll have to wait until after April 15th.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because it's going to come through those rules. That's when it'll come.
I already paid my taxes, man.
I already paid mine. I should be getting my check.
Yeah, where's the check?
Well, and it probably happened after April 15th because all the general accounting offices are booked solid.
I want my check. Well, they said $5,000 check. I'm waiting for my $5,000 check. Aren't you waiting?
Well, when you get that, it'll probably be after April 15th. That's what I'm saying, because the people who do the counting for the money are, tallying up everybody's taxes.
I want it in gold. I want gold.
You want it in gold?
Yeah.
No, you know what? No, you don't want it in gold, brother, because the gold standard. There's a guy that lives 2 houses down, and he runs. He works for Merrill Lynch, and he said gold is for people who are just like totally insecure about the money.
Right, because gold's going through the roof, man. Gotta look at gold. Some gold. Silver, too. I love silver. I got a lot of silver.
I got a lot of silver, too. And I prospect gold, but I'm not going to make too much money on it.
Silver used to be cheap, man.
Do keep it.
Now look at it. Per ounce is going up.
Hey, this is fun. Too bad I didn't get a link.
The silver will be the currency that people will use because
it's
smaller and easier. Gold a little bit harder. But still, precious metals, people love them.
Snakes of St. Patrick on that side. I've always got a nice silver coin with me wherever I go. It's worthless to anybody else but me, but
and Bitcoin's weird. If everything goes down, there ain't gonna be no Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, you lose everything. Yeah.
If systems are down, that's it. You don't access anything that's done. So.
Well, think about the hacker that can take a little thing like this and go blip, take your stuff, and then go into their computer and bloop. They've taken your money from you.
Yeah, you can buy a rabbit, maybe. Go on.
I sent Michael Anthony the link to the show. He wants to come on.
You can buy a rabbit on eBay, like $100, I think.
Sent you the link, Mike. But yeah, I don't know. I'd rather have gold. I mean, I'd rather have the money than the gold.
Well, as far as while the money is working, great. Once the money collapses, then it's nice to have a chunk of gold to use as a bartering.
Money collapses, it's just paper. It's just funny looking paper.
Yeah, Heidi. I mean, when it first came out, I'm like, what the heck? Why? Is it to pay for like digital things inside of a video game? What the F? And apparently it's a real thing to trade and barter with, and I don't get it, and I'm never ever going to get involved with it.
But silver is also used. Well, gold is too, but
silver is something I would get involved with. It's the color I like. It's a metal I like.
The use of silver in industry. You know what I mean? So.
Hey, Mike, did you get the link I sent you? Michael Anthony, did you get the link I sent you? It could be as much as 8 per person. Wait for the coins investment in your own government with returns. Yeah. He's so true. When Michael comes on, if he comes on, we'll have a good show. Trust me. We'll have a good show. But we're having a good show
anyway, and he's still part of it. So I mean, either way,
we're having a room show just with the 3 of us, man.
Well, no, our shows, but I don't know. I think our show's doing pretty good, so far tonight.
We've pretty much stayed on topic for the most part.
I don't give a shit.
We haven't got everything else yet, but we pretty much nailed the warmongering Trump, the Middle East,
and we always awesome, Sean. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that. But you know what, Jay? We have another 2 hours and 45 minutes to go, brother.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
Mark Eddy says it's a good show.
A full hour in, and we tackled the main thing we came up with. But there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. So, while we're talking about war, we going back to maybe the warmongering Trump again. He has gotten upset with Putin over some stuff with the. Hey, Mark. Good to see you again. We just came off the show with Mark, with Jeff and Christy and Jared. A really good show. Anyway, he's pissed off about something that Putin did with the ceasefire against Ukraine, and he's threatening more tariffs on him. And
what if those two get in that, huh? What do you mean the tariffs? I know he threw a tariff on Russia, right? But that it's not really big in the news. I mean, if it was something bad, for a damn fact, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC would be all over the story. If something like, and then you can't really believe that because they lie. They lie, and
they may not be all over this story because they don't want it to get any traction. So,
no, they would be looking like assholes. I have no doubt in my mind that that Trump and Putin and Xi, to be honest with you, are talking. Can you imagine if China, Russia, and the USA became friends?
That would be fantastic. It would
the reason why I believe China is like wanting to be Trump's fan, okay, here's the deal. It's because he'll cut back on the tariffs. Trump will.
Yeah.
She wants all the tariffs cut back on them. What he's doing. That's why, honest to God, when Biden was in office, Russia, China didn't make a move on the United States because they knew that Trump. There's Mike. Hey, Michael, you're on the stage, buddy. No, you were.
Yep, I hit it, then you hit
it. Yeah, good timing. Good timing. But yeah. So that's why Putin and Xi didn't make a move on free. That's why no countries made a move on the United States with Biden in.
No. While Trump was in, yeah, they were not. They were afraid of him, and they still are, but they're still fighting in Ukraine. So that's part of, I guess, why we gave him a 7.5 for the efficiency rating. You know, he said, and I quote, "I'll have that done before January 20th, before I'm inaugurated."
Right.
Here we are, 4 months in, and still going on.
Oh, Jay, I love you, man. I love
but
you.
He did say that. He did.
Say it, but
he said he would get traction going on in Israel before he was inaugurated, and that actually did happen. They had a ceasefire, but nothing else really happened other than that.
Well, look at with Ukraine. Russia was going to sit down with Ukraine and the United States. They'll call a ceasefire, but Zelensky said no.
Yeah,
he backed out of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And here, what I think we're taking off the plate here is how far an electoral candidate for president can go before a date. He did it. I do agree. He says I could get this done in 24 hours, but that time when he referred to in that first 24 hours of what he was speaking about was when it was at a place where negotiations and no influences could have interfered with him getting them both to sit down and talk better than they did. And of course, as we know, when Zelensky came to the White House, he had a private meeting with part of the old Obama crew who was coaching him on how to handle Trump at the White House meeting, which he got shown the door. More so to say, I do see where you're coming from. And I can only tell you is once the date came of 121, and I know for a fact that he jumped into it and jumped on it. And they both told him that they didn't know if they could at that time in that present moment due to the catastrophic issues that were taking place. Like when you do agree to ceasefire, but you continue to fire, all bets came off the table. It wasn't Trump's fault. It's just because he's dealing with two men, one being angry, the other one really, Putin, who is willing to say, fine, let's work out minerals, let's work out the lands, let's continue forward. While our government, the predecessors to Donald Trump, tore this country apart with these two countries in it. It was all intentional. It was made to happen. Everything that we deal with in our lifetime, when we look at the politics and war and men in suits that cause issues, and your children die for these issues because of wealth and riches and everything else, because they never thought they would get caught stealing this previous election. And they did. That's why Carmela was blown away. How did you guys not steal this election? She didn't know how to handle the fact that she needed to call Trump and congratulate him on his winning, because Elon Musk used technology to keep them honest. So when you have all these things going on, all these components, remember where the president's mind was also, bringing in Doge, bringing in, Pam Bondi and Christine Noem and all these other people. He had a big game on his plate. And I think he's doing the best he can with what he has, putting people in to take the reins to where he sits back. And this is a good thing that he's sitting back, because they have less fingers pointing to do at him. Because when you watch the defenses, even if it's the Madam Secretary, press secretary, it doesn't matter. They all say the same thing. They point the finger back at the true party that is responsible for the issues and the woke and fake media. So while he's cleaning all this up to do America better,
right,
having to deal with this also, which he was trying to, he got jagged off by somebody named Zelensky. And we don't give money to Ukraine anymore now, do we? So with that being said, when when you look at the bigger pictures, I think the way to narrate it out is to really look at all the objectives that are surrounding. But again, I do agree Trump said he could do it, but he said that time had passed. And he says, maybe I shouldn't have said it because he relied on the old information. Remember again, as a person in a party running for president, running by the wall, with a justice, not an injustice system, going up against them, going up against the Kazarian Mafia, going up against the cartel, 13, and everyone else that he was dealing with, he needed to stay straight and narrow, as he has. But this will be the greatest comeback for America since Ronald Reagan, without a doubt. Will he accomplish everything? Maybe not. But I think he's going to make you, as an American, richer again.
He's not going to finish it all. I agree with you there. But I think I do compare him to Ronald Reagan. I think he's brought some great things to our economy. I don't think he's a warmonger, but I thought it would be a great conversation starter, and so far it has been.
It's been a very good conversation starter, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think Trump has some ambitions, and he's been saying some stuff about a possibility for trying. And he's not going to be the last president to say it, nor the first. He's going to try to run for another term if he can, which means he has to turn off the 25th Amendment. How many attempts did Obama do? It was like 65 times in 8 years. He had the same senator, I think, same Democratic senator for 65 attempts, tried to get the 25th Amendment reversed so that Obama could run for a third. So,
Well, he did run for a third. He did run for a third. Why do you think that Trump told America? But see, he uses good wording. The automatic pen. Yeah. Biden was not in control of anything. And even the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said, I was with him. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about, said he had nothing to do with it. They tried to stop the meeting. They didn't want to leave them two alone. And we know that Biden told Mike Johnson a lot of things about that he didn't know about these things. So you actually had a third-term president narrating Kamala Harris, the ones that said, and we're not going to stop, and we're not going to stop. And I have the video of her saying, we're not going to stop. If they knew I had it and I share it, time in here, time there, they would probably do everything they could, DARPA being in charge of our government and technology, would probably come at my door, and I wouldn't doubt it. They would come after a lot of people, but right now, the reins are in a different man's hands. And like he said, all it took was a different president. When you change the narrative, anything that they don't like, they're going to smear the campaign right back at you. And look, guys, I'm not saying anything you haven't heard a million times since he got reelected. But that's the fact of the matter, and that's how the system works. So he's up against this swamp. He definitely is. And where do you get them first? You take from their pockets, and it's not about stealing from the rich, giving to the poor.
Yeah, and the problem is that, just like you said, it's the government. It's a deep-seated. I mean, it's 200 years worth of I'm sure it wasn't like this originally when the founding fathers started the government, but as the years go on, the corruption just has crept in and gotten deeper and deeper seated into it. It's like a dug-in tick. You got to dig out the brain, to stop the infection. Otherwise, it's going to continue. And he's up against a hell of a lot, and he's brought to light a lot of unsavory. I mean, why would the IRS is not a government agency. They're not even really. They're a private organization that deals with our taxes. But why would they pay out tax returns to people who are 600 years old? What sane person in any government would pay someone who's 605 years old?
And why would we give, COVID grants out to children under 11? Look, there's a lot that needs discovered. I threw this out on many shows and broadcasts that I've done and been on about the corruption, where it laid, how to look for it in certain ways. And I'm so happy to see that it's being done. Elon Musk is doing a great job, and I foresee it to become a part of an agency, not under a leadership. It's a temporary thing, having a guy in there fighting for America to help bring back better for America, because you're a better country than the rest of them out there, and this guy knows it. But remember, even Musk was on the left. So was Trump. But in time, they came to their senses. Whatever did it, whatever provoked it, they did come to the right, and they are practicing what is right for us. And I think because of a lot of that, it's not that we can now just take a bunch of money as well and put it down, onto the Fed and say, well, look, we're paying this much off. It's going to give us a better debt ceiling every month. But remember how this is going to pay it off.
On some of that, I don't think Donald Trump came all the way to the right, and I do agree with you that he was at one point all the way on the left. I don't think he came all the way back to the right, and I think his first administration, he was back on the right, like the far right, because he was a little hard to handle. But the lady, and I can never remember her name. She's the head of the White House staff now. She was his head of the campaign for this campaign. Whatever she did, she reeled him in. She got him to where he's not, he's not the mean tweeter. He's not the mean, he doesn't get on TV and say stupid things about, the female newscasters that say bad things about him anymore. He's not the poor little, poked in the eye, bullied kid that keeps poking back at everyone. He's changed 180, but I think he's come more towards the middle rather than to one left or right side. But he's more way leaning left than he is.
Why do you think the gold cards are working?
Do what now?
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. What I would like to just say to you is this is part of what the gold card was about, because money comes in all different ways. And when he knew and realized that he could offer people a ticket into America for $5 million each, and he sold over 1,110 of them. I mean, that's billions of dollars that he brought back there. Also with the promise of billions and billions of dollars, and I'm talking about incredible billions of dollars, more so near a trillion already, where manufacturing will come back here to America from certain groups in America that left because they were pushed out. And now he's bringing them in. So what do you have to do? You have to partnership up with the best that you have, the best way you can, to bring money back in to strengthen this country. And you can be part of it. And what does that do for America and the industry and the working man? It brings back the working man. It removes the robotic technology. It puts back in a physical manner of work. That's why he ran back to these companies and said, answer 5 simple questions. And where are you when you're not working? What are you doing? And we're finding out that people had 2 jobs. They were actually collecting a paycheck, never going to work. One source of an agency, we had 3,000 workers and there was only 45 showing up. That's one case scenario of another part of a scenario. Why I brought that up, I'm not exactly sure. Forgive me for that. But again, I understand that you're saying he's feeling the right as much as the left. In some cases, I believe you're right, because I always said we're going to see a geographical change. Maybe 51 Canada, maybe Greenland, whatever these scenarios are. But you're also going to see it over there in the east and all the way up into Ukraine. You're going to see a different aspect of it once they settle to sit down enough to talk a remedy. But you have to remember, there's bullets pointed at everybody's heads right now, and they have to do it with methodical precision and taking and going across these steps in a way that they know that they will all come out of this smelling better, being better. And
he left.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Well, he's got the link. He can pop back in.
But no, it just I'm lost for words right now. But I do want to apologize to you. I do want to apologize to Michael Angley that our show is great. Okay. It really, really is. All right. What came out of my mouth was wrong. You know what I mean? And I hope you all forgive me.
Oh, you're good, man. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It just this thing with all the shit going on in the world, it's just so much at one time. Just like really, I guess not just driving me nuts, but it's also driving everybody else nuts. You know.
Yeah, it is an insane world. I mean, one of my best friends on this network, Jeff, we've been doing his show for 14 years. He says it every day. It gets weirder and weirder and weirder out there. And I felt the sense. I gotta admit, I really did feel a sense of physical and stress relief when Trump won. But now I'm starting to feel some of that stress and discomfort coming back, and it's really strictly based on this stuff that's happening literally just across the pond in Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Houthis, the Houthis, whatever you want to call them, the Israel Hezbollah thing. It's all just going insane.
Yeah, it is, and I just don't. I can't deal with the energies sometimes. Like the other day, like yesterday, I was so damn tired of all. I was so tired. I worked and then dealing with all this shit that's going on in the world, and then you hear in the news about this happening and this happening, and that press secretary and all this shit. It's just really, really is annoying to me. I believe Trump is doing a good thing. I really do.
I do. There are a lot of people out there that were of the impression that he was going to, instantly declare himself, dictator of the world and try to take over everywhere. So another reason another reason why I came up with the main title is Warmongering Trump. What if what he's doing is trying to play the good guy? I don't want war, no, peace before blood, but actually, in the background, he wants the war to occur because it takes focus off of him, takes focus off of us. Right. And then he can do more damage that way. I don't know. But I certainly hope we're not going to go to war with Iran or anybody. Now, if Iran launches, a dirty bomb at Israel or anyone, one of our friends, or even an enemy of ours, then we go and sack their ass.
Right. And that's what it's all going to come down to. And I just I say shit that I'm not supposed to say sometimes. But it's how I feel. And I think he's doing a good job. And
we're only 4 months in, so we still have 3 years and 8 months to go. It's going to be interesting. And I said it before he won. I said it after. It's going to be an interesting 4 years. And so far, it's been an interesting 4 months.
Right. Hey, listen, we're going to go to a break, everybody. Play some promos, and then we'll be back in about 4 minutes. Okay, Jay?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. Get some in here.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it.
when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to News on the Flip Side. Got me and Jay, and hopefully Michael Angley comes back on.
Damn it, I hit the wrong button. I was trying to turn my camera on. Sorry.
Don't worry
Michael said he'd be back in a few minutes. His mic wasn't working, so he's charging up another one.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to Michael
Thank you,
Anthony.
Heidi.
He flipped out, so if he comes back, maybe we'll bring him back in. So.
Well, he got bumped. I know that, but I don't know. I just let's talk about something happy.
Yeah,
anybody out there in the in our chat room that wants to talk about some happy stuff? I mean, so Jay, what do you think of the weather?
It's actually turning pretty warm around here, and I'm excited. I don't really like the cold anymore. When I was a kid, we got way more snow when I was a kid. I think Montgomery County, Maryland, where I went to school through 8th through high school, they were like 20 days. I think we have of snow days out of the school year, and we a lot of times used up most of that, and sometimes we came close to like even having too many snow days. And it was a fantastic thing. He's like, oh, yay, no school. But now that I'm an adult and I have to get somewhere to make money so I can keep my house and my cats and my food and everything, I don't want to see snow at all. There he is.
There he is. Colmo Data. Who's that?
It looks like Galron.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Mike. Who's Colmo Dada?
No, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I think my microphone problems.
Oh, I can hear you.
StreamYard's not letting me use the microphone.
They're not.
Like the built-in one in your computer.
Yeah, let me try to.
Yeah, it won't let me use. StreamYard won't let me use the built-in camera in my computer, so I have to use an external camera.
Heidi says, "Welcome back, Michael."
Hello, hello.
I don't know. They just when ever since I got this
hello
this ring cam that I got here, I have no problems. I got a good picture. I use the microphone on it. You know, because when I first started, I had one of those microphones, and I always had problems with it, especially with the wiring in it.
Yeah, so far I've seemed to have good relationships with the microphones in my laptops. They seem to pick up pretty well. The ones when you have the earbuds, like the ones for your cell phone, whether they're wired or wireless, they seem to pick up mic pretty good too. But the problem I was having with this computer when I first got it was that I didn't think there was a speaker in it because it never had any sound. So I had to Bluetooth it to my Google speaker so I could hear. But so then what would happen was the microphone in the laptop was picking feedback up off of the Google speaker, and it was messing up the shows. So I had to go out and finally get another camera just to fix it. It was a whole pain in the ass with this new camera, or this new computer. But that's just technology getting back at us for being stupid.
Yeah, it is. I don't know.
Yeah, West Virginia. That's like 45 minutes away. That's not far. I'm in Waynesboro.
It just I don't know. I get fed up with StreamYard myself sometimes, because I better not say that because we are on their platform. They might be listening.
They might
but
be.
Also, I remember lots of times that I had that I would do shows on political stuff, right? And in fact, with Jenny, when we first started Chasing Prophecy, okay, when we first got on UPRN, every time we would have a conspiracy on, if we talked about anything political or something like that, it seemed like that Big Brother was always.
Yeah. Well, certain subject matter, I guarantee you that we've had problems. Like I said, I've been on with Jeff for 10 years, and we've had talking to Shaman, talking to people about UFOs and Bigfoot. We've had all kinds of weird glitches, and I'm sure that it was Big Brother or the government, going, we're gonna glitch that show, so they have to figure out something else to talk about.
Right. But we did. We tried to. In fact, whenever I remember, we couldn't use the C word, and at the time, nor talking about Fauci or anybody like that, we couldn't do that. And I mean, there was a couple times that our show, Chasing Prophecy, got hit hard on it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, especially during the COVID years, we were having all kinds of problems there.
Are we allowed to say that on air now?
Yeah, it's not. It's the 3-letter C. The government that wants you to take the poke.
Okay.
That 3-letter alphabet soup you can't say, and
there's just too many damn alphabets.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you that I don't know if they probably still are, but my dad was in top secret development of certain technologies with the U.S. Navy for decades, 30, 40 years. And our phones at my house in Rockville were tapped by probably the NSA. I guarantee when I went to college, my phone in the dorm room at my college was tapped. I guarantee when I went to, lived in Savannah, Georgia for 13 years, my telephones were tapped. I'll bet you my cell phone probably still is. My dad never told me any of his top secret things until they were no longer top secret. But I still, as a kid, I knew he did, top secret cool shit for the government. And
how did that feel? I'd like to ask you that question. Maybe our listeners would like to know. With your dad working in top secret stuff, how hard was it for you, kid, growing up?
It wasn't hard at all. People go, "Hey, what does your dad do?" I'm like, "I don't know." They're like, "Well, how can you not know?" I'm like, "Because it's top secret. He can't tell me."
Roseanne
he
says,
yeah, I mean, he couldn't tell me. You know, there were a few times when he slipped up, and they knew he slipped up because I would follow up with that question, and he'd say, no, I never said that. There was one time I asked him, do aliens exist? And I was probably 13, 14. And he said, yes, they do. And I said, cool. And I walked away. I didn't, have a deep conversation. I said, do they exist? Yes or no? He said, yeah. And I walked away. And then, 3 or 4 or 5 years later, I was 16 or 17. And I said, hey, remember when that conversation I asked you if aliens exist? He's like, nah, I don't remember that. I'm like, well, do they? He's like, no, they don't. I'm like, well, that's not what you said 6 years ago. So he reversed himself.
He was correct.
Well, yeah, he was probably
correct. Roseanne, let me ask you a question, Roseanne. Do you think aliens and UFOs are paranormal? Do you think it's possible? Do you think the government is paranormal? Because someone asked me that question the other day. Did they think that that the government is paranormal? What do you think, Jay?
Well, I mean, so we know the CIA had several experiments in mind control. We know the U.S. Army. We know the CIA, Dr. Timothy Leary, and several other people did massive experiments with lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD, all throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We're quite certain that. Wow! Now we have an echo. What are you doing? I'm gonna mute you, Mike. So it's not surprising that we have a messed up government. I mean, look at all the things we've done that are just. I mean, why would you take a bunch of army guys? I mean, military privates, and make them eat acid and see how they can and see if they'll perform their military duties?
I know it just and hallucinations and stuff like that.
Have you seen any footage of when they did that with the soldiers? They made them take acid and then do like confidence courses and run through those kind of. They did it not far from here in Aberdeen, Maryland.
Oh, okay. Roseanne thinks that they are a separate entity. They kind of are like a separate entity.
Our government?
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a lot of paranormal in that stuff. How's your mic working, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Is it echoing?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So weird.
Am I still echoing through you now? No. Okay, good.
You know what it is? It's something wrong. This StreamYard's not the normal StreamYard. It's some side stream. Because like if I go to a normal StreamYard, this stream is not there.
Oh wow.
What's going on? It's weird. But I don't know. The microphone, I messed with all the settings, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
We can hear you pretty good. We can hear you
fairly good enough for now. Yeah, and like I said, with me, the StreamYard won't let me use my built-in camera with my laptop, so it's they have some weird glitch going on.
Yeah, because there's times like, for instance, so I went on because they sent me the link, and I tried to get on so I could add on a couple things, and it just brought me here I couldn't put no other links on. So, and then let me ask you this. I'm also getting that every show that I freaking do, I'm getting a message saying that I copyrighted something, and I never did copyright anything.
I get that on Facebook too. I don't know. You have to ask Joe about that one.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
It's usually when we play. It's usually when we play a song, YouTube, something from YouTube.
I can understand.
It's weird because Facebook is the one that does it to me, but Joe says he's actually had YouTube say, "Oh, sorry, we had to pull this video because you broke copyright," even though YouTube knows that the station pays copyright for music.
Right.
So
Heidi got something right here. She says balance is necessary, and I believe other planetary species have been here since forever. We agree with you. We agree.
And as you said in the other thing, I also agree with this, where you say "as above, so below." We were talking about this on the UFO Undercover. We had 2 shows going simultaneously on Wednesday, but me and Leah were on our hour. We were talking about alien societies and how we always talked about, like, there's a war between heaven and earth, or heaven and hell, and I think hell is also earth. But as above, so below. I think something happened in our solar system, and they're trying to recreate that, and that's
Right.
what happened in the destruction of the solar system. I'd like to find that secret, but I think that's what's going on.
Roseanne says, I think ghosts and spirits are from a different dimension, but you also got to look at it too, Roseanne. So are UFOs, so are aliens. They're from different dimensions.
And one could argue where the soul goes is its own dimension as well. Some of it could actually be like living creatures, dimensionally bleeding over from another dimension. But the problem with ghost investigations is it's very hard to get physical evidence. The best physical evidences you get are going to be electronic evidences, EVPs, and non-digital photographs, emotion film photographs. Mainly because the problem with digital photography is that it has so much more better, if just eyeballs, if you will, it just sees better than it should. So it tends to pick up a lot of things that people think are a paranormal phenomenon, but they're not. It's a digital phenomenon. But with the emotion film, the ghost pictures I've seen are, they look, so some of the ghosts that have been pictured, there's one that's supposedly of a picture of Billy the Kid. The silhouette within the window of the ghost of Billy the Kid looks, you would think that's Billy the Kid. So it's uncanny. Chris Jacobs is a guy that lives here in Pennsylvania. He does ghost investigations at Gettysburg Battlefield, Civil War battlefield. And I asked them one time, him and his group, if they did catch any EVPs asking, "Who are you?" or were you able to identify anyone who was at the battlefield on electronic VPs? And they said, yeah, they would. They captured a guy's name. It was a Colonel something or other. And then they after they get the recording of the person's name, they went and checked the list, and there was a Colonel so and so on that list of whether it was a Northern soldier or Southern soldier, and they verified it, and that's uncanny to me. I think that's the best evidence I've ever heard in my entire life. This guy said his name was so and so on a tape. We looked at it, and there was a guy named so and so at Gettysburg that matched that same name. That's fantastic.
Could be, or it could be they're trying to fool you, man, because they like to do that stuff.
Yeah, then again, it could be, but why would you even go through the hassle of trying to, fake a recording?
Because
and walking the earth, I'd be messing with everybody, man. I'd be out there in traffic. I'd be out there at Empire State Building. I'd be all over the place looking through.
I got a list this long, guys. That I'm going to hunt like hell. That long.
Window of somebody when they're doing it. I'd be like,
a list of people you're going to go back and revisit, Sean.
What's that?
You have a list of people you're going to go back and revisit and give them the scares?
No, yes. You got to give them the get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
That's one of my favorite Eddie Murphy jokes. Is he's like talking about the movie Poltergeist in his comedy, and he goes, what if that happens to a black couple? He'd be like, yeah, this is nice, baby. I like this house. We got the backyard, and the kids can play, and we have front yard, and too bad we can't stay. That is one of the funniest paranormal jokes, and I think the only one I have. But yeah,
but you know what? I think that with some investigators, like you were saying about that dude from Gettysburg, some people just some investigators just want to be like top notch. They just want to be the number one and make a name for themselves.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I don't know. I retired from paranormal work. I just did so many years of it that I'd rather talk UFOs and Bigfoot and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
hope
mean
we.
the ghost situation, like I said, it's fascinating, and I really think it is. But the possibility of getting closure and any kind of scientific answer for it, I think it's beyond our technology right now. I don't think it's possible in anybody's technology really to answer the phenomenon of you know A, is there an afterlife, and B, do they bleed over into the current life?
What they find in Egypt, Miss? I don't know.
Oh well, okay. So there's some new findings under the Khafre pyramid. That's the second pyramid. The I think it's the second largest pyramid. Khufu's pyramid is the biggest one, and that's the one that we know of for a fact that made some kind of hydrogen gas. But apparently there is several structures underneath Khafre's pyramid that seem to resemble silos or wells, and then also several kilometers underneath the pyramid are several very long, even maybe possibly kilometer length chambers, uh, either at the same level or below the level of the wells. So very intriguing new information coming out of Egypt.
Yeah, and it's funny about that too. A lot of people, there's some, not a lot, but some people think that it's possibility some kind of battery, some kind electronic that lets
Well,
off all this raw energy.
we actually were talking about this exact subject on the previous show, Church of Mavis. So this is great. We can continue it. Um, yeah, the pyramids were supposedly the power plant, but uh, what we discovered and talked about in the previous show is that the planet is broken. The planet used to be like this. Now it's sitting off to it's kiltered because something hit it. Instead of sitting straight up, it's off to the left. So whatever the power structure that the pyramids were connected to, they're spun away from it. They're not touching the ley lines enough anymore, so they don't
Mm-hmm.
function the way they should. And this is speculation, of course, but I mean, they don't work. The planet is broken. The planet is it's instead of standing straight up like it should be, it's tilted
Yeah.
over 80 at a 27-degree axis.
Hey, Michael, Roseanne Ash wants to know: is Amityville really haunted?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes, you're the only Michael here.
Because I live there, is that why?
You're in New York, dude. Yeah.
You live in New York, brother.
I lived in South Amityville, man. I lived like 2 blocks away from Ocean Avenue, where the horror house is. But I knew a bunch of guys that lived there, man, at the time. They were all firemen, and they all had rented it out, and they said nothing ever happened there. But I knew the chief of police for Amityville, and I'd see him every once in a while, like 7-Eleven, and we started talking, and he said there was a bunch of reports year after year after year of stuff, like the house being empty and the screams coming from the house, but also the local teens and whatever. So I mean, who knows, I know what happened because I know the bartender. I met the bartender that when the guy killed the family, he went into that bar. It was actually a town called Copeg, right next to South Amityville. So, and then he came in with like blood on him. And he said he ordered like some kind of whiskey or whatever, whiskey sour or some shit. and then they called the police and they came in. The guy confessed. He said, "I just killed my family."
Wow.
Was he on drugs?
I don't know. I think it was just
I mean, he was drinking a whiskey sour right after. I mean,
yeah, terrible though. Terrible. But apparently, the family that moved in that got harassed. You know what? There's so much weird stuff and bull crap around them. I've seen pictures that look dead on real of the kid that was killed, even the clothes that he was wearing and whatever. And when you're seeing a ghostie in a picture, you get that feeling. It's a feeling you get that it's
yeah, I believe so. I believe there's a biological connection when you see a for real picture of deceased entity.
I'll get the picture. I'm gonna fish it out, man, because it's creepy.
Welcome back, Heidi. This has a question, guys. Has Trump ever been to Antarctica?
I don't think so. If he does go, that definitely, to me, in my mind, seems to tell me that he knows more about the UFO situation than he tends to lead on.
Didn't he start some lady start a UFO committee there
in Antarctica?
No. In Washington, she was supposed to.
Oh, I don't know.
It had to be all about UFOs and aliens.
I don't know. I wasn't tracking that, but I do know that he is interested in the subject, and if he goes to Antarctica, then maybe he knows more than we've been led on to believe.
So that's the Amityville Horror House, and this is the kid that, when they were doing the investigation, they had caught this pic. They said it was the adult male that lived there trying to act like a kid, and that's bullcrap, because this shirt he's wearing was the shirt he was wearing when he was stabbed to death. Shot to death, I should say. But,
yeah, you can even see blood on the shirt, dude.
It's super. This is the kid. Let me get the other. Can you see that?
You can see blood on his head too.
Oh, you can't see that one.
Yeah, I've seen that picture. When was that picture taken?
Let me grab the other one, because this is some shit right here.
That's creepy.
Let me
I remember that picture. Yeah,
that gives you the feeling, though. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yes.
Let me get the other picture. You get that feeling that you know what you're looking at. But this is the kid. This is the one who was murdered, and this is the one in the picture. And then and that's the full picture.
You didn't put that one up. Hold on, let me get it up there.
Oh,
all right,
shoot.
Go do that again. You didn't have it up. Now it is.
Okay.
Oh my God! That's split an image.
Yeah.
Even the hair. Look at the hair. Look at the and all that. And that's nobody. They said it was a negative and whatever. That's not a negative photo. And look in this doorway. You can actually almost see something there too. But I mean,
Yeah. There's eye shine on the door.
Hey Michael, can you enlarge the picture? I can't see anything in the doorway.
Can you make it whole screen?
Let me see. Let me grab that one. It's on Reddit, so I don't know. Oh, there.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's craziness, man.
Look how round his nose is. Same. His lips. I mean, But I've seen pictures of ghosts. I have pictures of ghosts, and I'm going to say right there that that's not someone trying to fake it or whatever.
Hey, if you gave me the negative for that picture, I can definitely verify that. And even without it, I would say right now it probably is 100%.
I have no doubt in my mind that is a ghost. But look at the railing. Look at the railing.
Yeah.
And in the front of the picture, it looks like somebody got sunglasses on. It looks like a face right there.
I don't see it, but I do see eye shine behind the white door.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something's behind that door.
But I mean,
Michael, what was your best picture you ever got, dude?
Mine?
Yeah.
I showed a few of them. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have a whole bunch. I couldn't even believe it when I started seeing those pictures, because I was like, what's this like what's the deal here? It was only Peter and I, and we trusted each other, and it was only us doing the investigations. So, but when you see it, there's something more to the world. That's all it really is. I mean, without really having. I mean, I got EVPs, people talking to me, answering me back. I mean, ongoing intelligent conversations, which is kind of what I wanted when I got into it. I wanted to see a ghost. I wanted to talk to him. Those are the two things that I wanted, and I got them. I think second investigation in. Got full body apparitions. not just that, but being touched and whatever, like a whole bunch of things, just how they communicate with scent, smell sometimes, that happened too on those investigations. So
yeah, yeah, I got a picture here Heidi sent, but I wish I knew how to. I'll send it to Jay.
Okay, yeah.
To put up. And then Heidi can explain it. Hold on. Got this one. All right, Jay, got you that one. I'll send it to Michael. And I'll send you another one. Okay. All right, so Heidi, what we did was we put up, I sent it to Jay, and they're going to put them up, Jay or Michael, and they're going to put it up.
Okay, wow. Okay, cool. Oops, what did I do? That's fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I have more CDs full of pictures.
All right, so this was the second picture you sent. Is it up?
Okay. Yeah, I'll put Heidi's talk on it. Okay.
Right there. We got to bring Mike's out of there.
Those Amityville kid. He's still there. That's the thing.
That one in there. Okay, so this is the second picture you sent me. Let me get to it.
It's the Molly Braun Titanic house in Denver.
Okay.
She ended up there on International
This was the close-up. So where are we seeing the ghost? Is it in that little triangular pizza pie cutout?
I think it's in the window up there that she's talking about.
Right here?
Yeah, there's a face up there.
Yeah, let's see if I can make it bigger. I don't think I can make it bigger.
See it? See the face there?
Yeah. That's pretty creepy looking.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I've gotten so spoiled. I'll put that picture up. I'll put one of my best pictures up. I've gotten so spoiled because of this. And I just said to Pete, I'm like, where do we go from here? You know what I mean? Because it was like, Right, let me get that up.
Yeah, you do. We do get spoiled.
That one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I remember that one too.
Look at that. Well, everybody in the chat.
That's the guy's aunt. When he saw the picture, he was like, "That's my aunt! Oh my god!" And like he whipped out a picture of his aunt from like the late 50s, and it's her face, her everything. I don't know if you can see the fingers. Like she's got real long fingers, when she's carrying some kind of box. I'm like, what's with the box? He's like, she used to love rosewood boxes. I'm like, there's some kind of message, for you. And then where she's standing, there's a computer there. Like you can see that monitor. There's a desk there. There's no place for her to stand. But then, and then Pete was putting his recorder down. Well, let me get that photo. It's crazy. Let me get this one. All right, let me stop sharing that. I'm going to share you.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've always found most fascinating, where the legitimate pictures that cannot be explained away with ghostly figures and the EVPs. Yeah. So both together combined are very spooky. Oh yeah.
Oh wow, hell yeah! Is that you, Michael?
She's in front of Peter, and then I'm like, dude, did you feel anything at all? Like anything? Like he said nothing. He was putting his recorder.
The temperature didn't even drop like several degrees right away.
He said nothing. He said he was putting his recorder down. But look how solid he is, and look how not she is, and she's like materializing, but like right in his face, dude. Like right in his face. I'm like, whoa. Because when you look real close into this photo, it's creepy.
What's with that Pac-Man figure? Is that like part of his shadow? What the hell is that?
Which Pac-Man?
Like the black, right. See where his blue shirt is, right above his left shoulder.
Right here.
That's her.
That's her, Jay.
No, not way up there. Like closer. Like there's his head, and then there's like this Pac-Man figure, this black.
I don't know. She's right in his face. Like she's right.
Yeah.
And you can see through her. She's like basically transparent, but she's wearing some kind of gown. But those are the best pictures we ever got of like a detailed face, things like that. I mean, I've gotten all kinds of shadow figures, images, and whatever, but not like this. And especially right in front of Peter, that was like crazy, man. And there's no place for her to stand. So he was like, when he saw it first, because we use hunting cameras, with like a really quick trigger time, so if something trips that PIR sensor, it takes a bunch of pictures, So he, and this was an older one, it's the Remington, you can see on the screen, Remington Ghost Cam is called, which is funny. Because they didn't intend it for ghost hunting, I don't think. But
is that a trail cam? Like,
yeah, it's trail cam.
Wow.
We had like 20 of them, so we would like put them all over the place to try to catch images, and then I looked for the ones that had less than that 1/2 second trigger time. Then they can record video or they can take a bunch of pictures. So, but see now in this room, we had put a ultraviolet light on one side. You can't see it because it's invisible to this, but I think that was that UV light that brought this out so much. I think that because we were looking at different types of light and exposures and how to bring something about if it's barely there, in the lighting to see it. You know what I mean? Like infrared lighting, which like infrared cameras, it's not really infrared, but it's kind of infrared. But there's so many spectrums of light. So I just said, let's put a UV light in a socket, and put it inside the room. We put it. We had a drop light, and we put it over there. And that's what was shining on that wall, But I think that helped the exposure. But the guy had seen shadow figures in his apartment, images. I got another one, a shadow figure. It was right over me too, and that's what they had seen in the apartment. It was like these crazy images.
It is. That's a hell of a picture there.
Crazy images flying through the air, but and then Pete went in first, and then I'm like, let's make a show out of it, and then I went in. But let me grab this one.
Have you guys ever showed other people your pictures?
Oh yeah. So and this is that guy David. That's that guy. He's from the apartment. It was his aunt. And when I first saw the pictures, I'm like, that's the dude, right? But this guy's much larger. You can see, and he's wearing that. He's not wearing a gown or anything. And his hair is different. His face is different. And I was just trying to say in my mind, it can't be a ghost. It got to be something else. You know what I mean? But it turns out we were all in this room together when those pictures were taken. And then Pete had heard something in there, so he walked in to put his recorder down just to see if he can get something, and then come back out again. But we were all in this main room. But look at this thing flying through the air. And this is the kind of thing that they would see, that black shadow figure in the air.
Wait, what is that? Is that a ceiling fan blade? What the hell is that?
Nope. It's just this is the stuff that they would see. So you can see there's a hunting camera right there because Pete, left that there for days because things would be flying back and forth. He's got an image of her flying through the air.
No.
Sideways. You can't really see her face, but you can see kind of the gown thing. So when he saw that, that's when he was like, we got to go in there. And this guy's like a medium. He doesn't want to be, but he is. And he went to all kinds of places, and like in Ithaca, every place he lived, some stuff happened. And this was a brand new apartment building too, man. Yeah. So it wasn't like it was haunted before. It was Christmas.
This is in New York?
Yeah, in Ithaca, New York. They were. It was Christmas, and then, they were visiting, right? They were visiting this dude and his mom, because his 80-year-old mom lived with him there. She was in the room there with us.
Heidi says, what is up with the ceilings and floors with these mofos? I think that's creepy.
Yeah.
With what?
She said, what is up with the ceilings and floors with these mofos? I think that's creepy.
I couldn't tell you. I don't even know what that shape is on the ceiling. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, my first thought was it's a ceiling fan blade on high speed, and it just motion blur. But it's not a ceiling fan blade. It's way too big.
It could have been a shadow, a spirit moving. Look at that picture.
Yeah,
Holy
I've
crap,
seen that
dude.
before. I've seen that before. It's a neat one.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it's like the face is in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pasty, right? That's
yeah. What do you
very.
think? It looks like there's lipstick on there, color, but it's all black and white.
When I first saw this, I figured it was the guide, and I'm like, he's like, no, he was with you, and I'm like, and I looked at this picture. I mean, it doesn't really look like him. You know what I mean? Like it's not him. You know, because the guy's much larger or whatever. But look at the gown. I don't know. I mean, and this was her when she was.
Well, yeah, she's wearing a shawl.
This was her when she was like 1959. So he
Wow.
whipped out a picture of her at the beach, 1959. He said, and then that's exactly the way she looked. When she died, she was old. You know, but he said, that's my aunt. Oh my God. When we showed him the picture, he wigged out. He was like, oh my God, that's my aunt.
Do you have a picture of the aunt? Do you have a picture of her alive in 1959?
He
comparison?
Did. You know, we put that on the show because he was whipping out pictures, you know, because we went back for a revisit. But interesting stuff, man. And she's carrying that box, whatever the box.
Have you ever been back to the house recently?
He moved out of that apartment. He moved, so he moves into his place in just outside of Ithaca, right? It was a morgue, right? He didn't know it at the time. You know, the next door neighbor, she was like some alcoholic. She didn't used to be before she moved into that building. She had worked for Cornell. She had a pretty high dollar job. Turns out, you know, she just starts drinking massively, and I'm like, dude, that could be a telltale sign of a terrible haunting. You know what I mean? Like people try to self-medicate and that type of thing. So, but he moves in there with his mother. All this crazy stuff's happening, man. They did a Ghost Hunter episode. Those two guys, the Taps guys, they wanted us, Pete and I, to come on the episode, and then I'm like, for free? And they want all of our material. They wanted all of our pictures, all of our material, everything we ever did with the guy. I'm like, I'm not doing that. They get to do their own investigation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right, Mike.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna waste my time.
Ghost
the
Adventures.
agent was like, but you could meet Grant, and Pete and I laughed. Meet Grant, well, who cares?
Well, Ghost Adventures came to Pittsburgh to the Carnegie Library over in Homestead, and they asked me, would you like to be a witness? I guess they called him back then. And I wasn't allowed to wear none of my paranormal stuff. I wasn't allowed. It was crazy. But if you happen to see Taps, Ghost Hunters, the episode with the Carnegie Museum in Homestead, I'm the first person you see.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but again, I think I took that take like 15, 20 times because I was saying everything the wrong way. You know. Yeah.
We did Valentine, which is a museum, you know, upstate, and they did Valentine. We kind of worked the Erie Canal, I guess they did too, you know, and then we went to Valentine. We actually got some cool stuff like boots walking on the floor, things like that. We got a head peeking around the corner, you know, just stuff like that. But the woman there, the curator, was like, yeah, Taps guys came in here with 50 people for 2 weeks. And
50?
Cruise. And they say they don't believe in mediums. She said they had a whole bunch of psychics and mediums with them running through the building, and they got nothing. And I'm like, because they're not likable. I'm like, Pete and I are likable. Like, you know what? If you go into a situation, you're kind of likable, you're laughing, you're keeping it light, they approach you much faster than if you're in there yelling and screaming or doing whatever.
Yeah.
People
Why are you here?
You know,
how did you do? Yeah, you got to be fun.
You know? They want to be all tough. Oh, I'm a provoker. I met an 18-year-old told me he was a demonologist. I'm like, 18? 18. That's pretty good.
Hey, that's a question I want to bring up to you guys. What do you think of demonologists?
Well, there's something to it. It's been written about throughout history in almost all of the religious works. It's been written about in non-religious works all throughout history. It's been painted in various forms and depictions all throughout, art history. Something's to it. Whether they're, painting pictures of Bigfoot or Nephilim or, alien species that look like Chewbacca, who knows? But it's been, global for all of written history.
I mean, you can go online and take an online course and become a demonologist.
Yeah.
There's like 2,500 different demons out there, and my question to a demonologist is, well, which demon are you working with? And Michael would agree, and so would you, Jay, that 90% of the time you see all the bad stuff that happens in the house is not a demon. It's just an angry, pissed off ghost.
It's a poltergeist, yeah.
You see this picture here?
Yeah.
So everybody's gathered around the table. This is
there's only 3 people in that picture, though.
Yeah. I see one right in the middle there, behind that girl with the long blonde hair.
Yeah, exactly, up in the window. So this girl to the right is Nicole Berardi, right? Amazing medium, just a young kid at the time. Her mom sitting next to her, and we had 2 other mediums there too that aren't in this picture. But like Nicole believes that this was some kind of Quaker woman who was praying along, because we were in the Erie mansion. There was a serial killer who lived there, and he killed a lot of women there, and there was just a lot of mayhem and madness up in Clyde, New York. My friend actually owns it as a B&B. So, but it's just a crazy place. But let me get a better picture than that, because here we go. So you can see like that.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Really, it's pretty well defined. And I always look in the rooms. Is there something that could reflect something on the other side of the room and whatever? There's nothing. There was nothing there. Just that. So, and then this picture, you see, you get the orbs. You believe in the orbs. There's Pete. You got ghosts right there. That's the guy's apartment, David. That's one where we got that.
He's got divining rods.
But now David's talking. At this point, David's over here talking to his friend who killed himself. He committed suicide right before Halloween. Hung himself in someone's tree after he had slashed his wrist and did all kinds of stuff. It was Halloween. The people were away that lived in that house, and everybody in the area thought it was like a Halloween decoration. So in Ithaca, they're driving past this guy's dead body hanging in the tree.
Oh, wow.
Orbs are weird things. Orbs can be bugs and dust and whatever, but I'll tell you, this one, right there, he's got his dowsing rods, and he's talking to the dude here, and then that orb is just kind of hanging out, It's just pretty.
Can you blow it up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a nice orb right there. It's solid. It's solid.
That is not a dust particle.
No.
I didn't see a center to it. I didn't see any kind of. It almost looks like it's got a face, man. I don't know. It's weird. But.
Yeah, it does, don't it?
Like a little face going on.
Yeah, but that's solid. And if you look at the orb, is he sitting on the chair or on the?
It looks like it's right here. There's dowsing rods, and there's the orb, and David's over here talking to him. Trying to have this kind of way, the ghost box right there going. Trying to turn energy into words and that type of thing. But we use everything. we use powder on the ground.
What medium was the picture taken on?
It was just a camera I was flashing.
Is it film or digital?
No, digital. It was digital. But and I had the flash going too.
Yeah, I'm with Heidi. Usually when the medium is emulsion film, I have a harder time debugging it. This one, even though digital, it doesn't look like a water spot or a dust. Dust
particle. No.
Dust particle.
What's interesting? There's no other orb in the whole picture, like nothing. And usually if there's dust around, there's a few of them floating around. But
hey, Mike, can you bring your mic a little closer? You're kind of low in the mix there.
How's that? Hello?
No, a little better. Yeah, I know where that guy got that T-shirt at.
But yeah, man. So I mean, with these ghosts, whatever. I mean, so but the guy had a message for David, and it was he wanted him to tell that they had a mutual professor at Cornell wanted him to tell him I'm sorry and all this other stuff. You know, and it got pretty intense. You know, it got intense enough where something entered David. He started screaming and flipping out. And he ran out of the apartment down the hall, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So I chased him out in the hall. I'm like, "What's going on, dude?" And he's like, "I can't go back in there." Oh, he's like going crazy. And then I'm like, "Dude, it's all right. We're here. We're all cool." He's like, "You tried to enter me, and oh my god, I don't want this feeling." You want to hear something really crazy about the dude? This guy, so after this apartment, he and his mom moved into another apartment. Before they moved into that farmhouse where the morgue was, right? He moves into this apartment. And then he said there's this black kid who is in a sweatshirt and his face is kind of distorted, like something crushed his face. And he wants to get a message to his mother that they used to live there, but she's gone. And then I'm like, I know there was a story in Ithaca schools. The gym teacher, they had these automatic doors, and the gym teacher had jerry-rigged the key so it closed by itself, where she was supposed to be holding the key because it could crush somebody. This kid ran through those doors and got stuck in the door and crushed. His face got crushed. I looked up, and they lived in that apartment. But David didn't know that. He didn't know any of that story. He wasn't even around when that stuff was going on. And I'm like, you gotta help him. You gotta help him, right? If you're a medium, he's talking to you, you can hear him. You gotta help him, man. But that dude, he was, you know what, man? He was dipping into the dark side. That guy, like, he had this spirit called named Elf that he was talking to all the time, and I'm like, dude, like you're either nuts or if you're for real, you got problems. You know what I mean? Like either avenue, dude. You got something going on. You know,
right.
I'm like, you want to leave this elf alone? Then there was a woman in D.C. that wanted $7,777.77 from him. You know, and I'm like, what? Call the police. Let me report that woman for trying to extort something out of you. And
oh my God.
Forget about the elf. But when he lived in that morgue house, he said there was a woman that would walk down the hall, and she would like look right at him, like walking through past his bedroom. And he was terrified to leave his bedroom. Like, he got to the point where he didn't want to. And then Pete and I went in there. There was a dude in some John Deere hat. That's what I saw, like, in the photo when we caught that guy. But, you know, I didn't see any, like, what he was talking about. These crazy, furry creatures coming at him through the bed, like, with these sharp teeth, clawing at his back and whatever. I'm like, well, you got to move. You know,
well, let me ask you this. So, if the guy is saying he's seeing that kind of weird thing, like creatures with like, you know, sharp teeth coming out from under his bed, when you're investigating, do you find like, you know, hidden bottles of alcohol throughout the room?
Nah, he didn't drink, and he was being for real. Let me tell you, man. So I was coming back from a trip, and then he had called me in a panic, saying he didn't sleep in 3 days, and he was begging for Pete and I to come and just kind of like do anything, even calm the place down. So, okay, whatever, you know. When I was talking to him, this voice is like, he's like, what the hell did it even say? It was like, you better not go there, like that. And,
oh, wow.
And it was just like, kind of like, bah, 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 over what we were talking about, he and I. And he didn't hear it, but I heard it, you know. And I was in my car. It was on a car stereo thing as I was cruising down the road. But so I know something was going on with the dude, you know what I mean? But he was attracted to a very low vibration, and that's like the worst type of thing. And you know, I mean, but to each his own. When this guy was young, they did seances with him, his grandmother and his aunt. The one.
Oh my God.
He was like 2 or 3. They did all kinds of seances and Ouija board stuff, all that stuff, and they would have big parties, seance parties. So, and that was in California. So I mean, the guy is heavily. He didn't want it. I think it was kind of just thrust upon him. You know what I mean? So.
Hey, Mike, what do you mean by low frequency?
Low vibration, evil.
Low vibration. I'm sorry.
Evil, straight up evil, low frequency, low vibration. You know, just straight up evil. It's, you know, it's out there, man, isn't it? It's out there.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
But it's like you feel like if you're doing a good job, if you're moving something along, maybe there's a reason they're earthbound or they're lost and they can't. You would hate to think that there's lost children out there, but there are.
Well, if you think about it, there are millions of people that go disappearing on this planet every year, and no trace is ever found of them.
Right.
No, thanks,
we got
Heidi.
people who are straight up attacked and scratched.
Oh man, hell yeah! I got bit one time. I tell you what, I got bit on an investigation. You could literally see teeth marks in my arm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
In college. We were filming a video at the fort. I forget the name of it. It's a Civil War fort in Savannah, and we knew a lot of people that worked there, so we got permission to go there after hours at midnight to film part of this video, and something scratched me through my clothes. I mean, it wasn't freezing cold. It was, but it was cold where I had like a t-shirt, a shirt, and then like a windbreaker on, and something scratched my skin through all of that. And I was like, oh, and I lifted up my shirt and I threw a light on it, and I was like fingernail scratch marks, and like, when you do that and it makes a red mark.
Yeah.
I had Wolverine marks on my on my left side.
Was it three scratch marks?
4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Usually who gets hit with that is three of them. I've seen 3 of them.
The 3 of them were very distinct. The 4th one was like a small nick, but it was there.
I knows that when I would investigate and I would get like bit scratched, I felt really weird. Like for 2 or 3 days. Anything happen like that to you guys?
Always.
No, but right before the pain with the scratch, the temperature dropped because we weren't all the way outside and we weren't all the way inside. We were kind of in the fort that it was like it doesn't have like sealed. It wasn't the fresh air could come in and out of the place where we were, so it wasn't a solidly closed off part of the fort. But the temperature in that area dropped significantly right before I was scratched.
Right.
Look at this picture, man. So that window's blown out. There's no window there. It's just all black behind there. There's no reason for there even to be a person's face here. And there's some creepy guy's face there. And first I would think, oh, it's Padelia or something like that. But
yeah, maybe Heidi. I don't know.
This is so I'll show you this. It's kind of a story. Oh, there's Nicole. That's Nicole. She was just a kid doing this stuff, man. Pretty cool. There's David. That's the guy. That was David having the conniption. You see that? Like, look at his face, man. He was like something entered him. He started to feel. He said a cold spot on his right hand at that time. But Pete.
Roseanne Ash has a question, guys.
This was the bear outside that cabin that girl's face was, because there was a hunter and his son walking through there, and the father got stuck in some kind of vortex, and then
wow.
Yeah, he contacted Pete because Pete advertised around if people have a ghost story or something, tell him, and then we put a hunting camera there, and this is one of the guys that showed up. Not a ghost, but it makes us go in packing, man. Let me see what else.
Roseanne wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Ouija board?
So those are some serious things. Now, I don't remember which company it was, Mattel or Hasbro, that made the first Ouija boards. They weren't.
Mattel.
Mattel, thank you. They weren't the first ones to make. People had been making them, on their own for years, but they did work. And at some point, they found out why they worked, and Mattel changed how they manufactured them. But if you get the original ones, they're from like the 40s or 50s, whenever they first came out. It was a special kind of wood for the board with the lettering on it, and the yes, no, and I don't know, maybes, and other answers to questions. So that was solid wood, not cardboard. But I don't remember what kind of wood it's supposed to be, but it's a specific wood, maybe acacia wood, it's something biblical. And then the little counter you put your hands on had to be heart-shaped and made out of wood. and it had to have 3 felt pads for the feet and a brass nail through glass as the pointer for when the whatever you call that carriage thing would slide over to the answer.
A planchet. A planchet?
See, this
Planchet.
is the cabin.
A planchet, I think maybe. Okay.
The picture of the girl's face, it was up in this window, and there's no window. It's black.
Oh, wow, okay.
There's no reason why a picture like that would ever show up, but
yeah.
But
I'd be afraid to walk in that place, Mike.
Packing.
Yeah, well, look, he's packing. So.
I'm not talking about somebody trying to kill me. I'm talking about the wood, might break or something.
So anyway, back to the Ouija board real quick. They figured out that those with the wooden planchets and the brass nails and the glass actually worked. So they changed the manufacturing of it. The board became cardboard. It didn't fold. It was still one solid piece, but it was now cardboard or particle board. And the planchet was plastic with a plastic like clear hole where the nail went, and the nail was now either steel or copper.
See, now look at this picture, right? This is like the second floor in that cabin. The thing is blown out. It's been there for a long time. This mist kept running from us the whole damn time we were there. And we got it out in the tree line, too. But if you look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
There is no reason this mist. That's a tree branch out there. So the thing goes out there over the tree branch. It wasn't cold enough to see your breath. It wasn't anything like that. It was chilly, but it wasn't like that, But just weird, man.
You ever seen that Star Trek episode where they had the cloud creature that drank blood?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mike, look below on the bottom left of your picture. Look at see it right there?
This?
Yeah, the mist. The black mist. Down there we go. Oh, no, not that far. Right here. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
But look at now this
Woo.
was on this was on the first floor. And then it looks like there's someone sitting there almost in the chair.
Or someone peeking in from outside.
Yeah, looking at us, So that was weird. And see, there's a mist outside.
Oh, wow.
Like following us around. It was up here in the tree line now. And I'm like, what?
And this is digital, not emulsion.
Digital, and it, my flash must have illuminated a bit because you can see it.
Well, of course it is. You can see all the trees. The leaves are lit up. So yeah.
It must have been somewhat solid, whatever the hell it was.
Whatever it is that your flash was reflected off of it.
Yeah. And look at that.
Nice orb. That's solid. That's a good one.
No, that's a water spot.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing water.
No, Jay, I'm gonna ask you something on this. Okay, if it's a water spot, all right, how come there's no other water spots?
It was dry. It wasn't. There was no
rain. It could be. It could be. The condensation just happened to. You walk through somewhere where there was a spot you could pick up water. Water is. There's water vapor in our air all the time.
But I've gotten water, and it actually looks like a drip. It looks like a kind of bluish. And this to me has character. I don't know, man.
It's got, but it looks like a microscopic picture of water with little amoebas in it.
But then again, Mike, if it would be water, dude, there would be more of those.
It was dry.
It's just not in one spot. They would be all over that place.
It was a full moon. It was dry. But just an interesting shot.
It is definitely.
When I look at orbs, I'm like, I don't know, man. Because there's a lot of the jury's out about
that poor gentleman has an orb on his face.
But yeah, I guess the good old days. I haven't done an investigation in a while.
Do you miss it, Mike?
Yeah, it had to be a solid brass nail, Roseanne. And then I think at some point it was like a cheap brass or maybe even like brass plated tin or aluminum nail. So they did something to it to know where it wouldn't no longer work. But there were several stories of people that had the original boards that were not necessarily calling demons and stuff, but bad things were happening because of the board, and when the board was taken away, the bad thing stopped. So there was sort of a correlation.
So,
wow.
Look at this, right? So there's Pete, and then that's the hunting camera. That's kind of just facing.
But he's not moving, and there's motion blur. Why is there motion blur?
No, he's moving.
Because something walked in front of it.
He was coming down the stairs, but something is over here. Watch this, man. This is crazy. So he's there, and then boom, you see this picture of his face. Like there's an ear,
yeah.
That's not me because I'm in the room behind him, man. You know, and I'm like, what the hell is that face? And you can see him. So because he went to mess with the camera, he was going to move it, but they decided not to. But there's a staircase right there. So whatever that is, right there, man. That's like right. Boom.
That's kind of gone. But do you miss investigating?
Yeah.
Well, look at the woman. Look at the woman.
It's gone, but look at the black, the shadow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
do you miss investigating, Mike?
You know, there's a place that we're looking to do. It's a road, and it has all kinds of crazy history. It's only 20 minutes away from me, upstate New York here, man. You know, I'll show you a picture of it.
We're a little bit past break time too.
All right.
I was like, Pete, we got to do this road, man.
Any of you guys want to pick a song? Because if not, I got one.
I got one, man.
All right, we'll let Mike play one.
All right, Mike.
I want to show you this first, though, because this is a real thing. And then there's a ton of people who live on this road that have all these great stories, man. Like, you know, and this is what paranormal investigators love. Is just the stories, right? And then it leads to the investigation. This is actually a marker. The place, Death Valley Road, cautionary tales of murders, hangings, drownings, and scattered bones.
Yeah,
where's that at, buddy?
Where's that
at? Where's that at?
Johnson City, New York. Man.
Wow.
It starts in Johnson City, and people are pretty proud of the road. There's all kinds of Quakers and all kinds of like rituals too that people have done, and all that other stuff, you know. But let me get. Yeah, actually, I picked this amazing guitar duel.
Okay.
Let me do that first.
We need some good music.
You know what? I think you're gonna love this because you both love guitar playing. So
yep.
Let me. Where the hell am I? Oh.
So we're going to be going on break. Be back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll finish off the last part.
Yes. Smoke them if you got them.
Share it.
Oh, is that Jimmy?
Nah. You're gonna love this, man.
Oh, Zappa. Okay.
Nice, dude.
How's that, man?
Yeah, that was a good song. You're in redemption on that, but I'm going to disagree with you that either Steve Vai or Frank Zappa are the best guitarists, because both of them rolled their thumb over the top of the fret bars to hold notes, and that's a no-no with the guitar. Shame on both of them.
Two amazing players, man.
They are amazing players, but they rolled their thumbs over the neck to hold that top string to get more notes out of there. That's cheating. You're not supposed to do that. Shame.
Man, I haven't talked to him in years, but Joe Satriani used to teach guitar at my friend's parents' music shop, Corette Music in East Meadow. Because
he's amazing too.
All those guys are from Carl Place. And so
Joe, what I thought was cool with the cigarette hanging out.
Yeah, that's signature for Frank Zappa. His guitar is always smoking a cigarette.
Steve Vai came to him.
Did you know that Steve Vai right now is partnered up with the remnants of the '80s King Crimson, Tony Levin, the bass player, Adrian Blue, the guitar player and singer, and I think they have Jason Bonham, son of John Bonham, as their drummer, and they're going around playing King Crimson right now from the '80s, which I think is amazing. I'd like to see that.
He wants to play it. I like that. You know, I like Joe Satriani too. I mean, I think they're great.
Yeah, he was amazing. Silver Surfer.
You ever see the G3? With Joe Satriani's together with Guthrie Govan. You know, he's the English dude. Amazing player, man. Amazing. With Steve Vai, all three of them just jamming out. It's fun to listen to. It's great that they can play together, like that, because they're all such a technical guitarists, I mean, there's a lot of great guitarists. I don't know if there's
I've been lucky enough to see some of the greatest. I've seen Steve Howe with Yes and with Asia. I've seen Alex Lifeson with Rush 15, 16 times. That he's fantastic. I've seen David Gilmour with Pink Floyd a couple times. The first concert I went to was Jackson Browne, Lawyers in Love. That was a pretty good concert.
Roseanne has said, I wonder what Joe would think of the show tonight. Love it.
Well, when he gets the numbers and they beat all our previous shows, he'll be happy as a pig in pie.
Joe got abducted, man. He's abducted. We're waiting to hear from him. I thought he'd be calling in or dialing in.
Yeah, no, they're partying right now, dude. The good ones and him, they're right now sitting at the bar with cigars and drinking it up and having a good old time. So let him have his time over there.
Yeah, Heidi says Ted Nugent was amazing. I like Ted Nugent. And
yeah, she also said she loved Rush too, so they were a good band.
Yeah.
3 guys out of Canada.
A lot of music for 3 guys. That's a lot.
They did a lot of good music. I mean, the song that drew me in was Tom Sawyer. And the first rock and roll album that I bought with my own money was Moving Pictures from Rush, just because I heard that one song on the radio.
One of my friends is this guy from Australia. He doesn't like Rush. I'm like, how could you not?
How can you not like Rush?
He's an audio.
Oh my God!
He's got the best systems and all that. And I'm like, how could you not like Rush? He's like,
their drummer was surrounded by nearly 50 pieces of percussion equipment, including electronic ones.
He doesn't like the dude's voice.
was there only 3 people in Rush?
Yeah,
only 3 people.
Wow.
Neil Peart, the drummer, Alex Lifeson is the guitar player, and then Geddy Lee was the singer and bass player and keyboard player. He played the keyboard with his feet.
I never got to see them live, man. They never,
oh, you missed out, buddy. They were so good.
They weren't playing around New York. They didn't play for a while.
Oh, yes, they did. They went through New York a lot.
Not when I was going to shows. I don't know. I didn't get to see them. I would have.
Yeah, you missed out. They were good. Did you ever get a chance to see ZZ Top?
No.
They're not my kind of band.
They are good in concert, though, dude.
Yeah, they played through Sundance. That's the place I hung out. I didn't bother going though, but they're cool.
That's cool.
You gotta, if you like that sort of thing, man, what I mean?
I saw a Rush cover band, Heidi, in college in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the University of Bridgeport, that is. And they were fellow students at the school, but there were 4 of them. They had a guitar player, they had a bass player, they had a drummer, and then they had a computer geek, literal computer geek, who did the keyboard stuff with his computer.
Yeah.
But they sounded like, I mean, I closed my eyes. I'm like, I'm listening to Rush. It sounds exactly like them. They were very, very good.
You know, that club I used to go to was cool because the band
We're having trouble hearing you there, Michael.
The club I used to go to was cool because the bands that were going up you'd see, and the ones that were coming down you would see, and the ones that went on their solo effort like Ace Frehley, the Frehley's Comets, they came through. I got to hang out and talk to them, man. You know what I mean? You know, Motorhead played all the time. I got great stories from that. And just real cool people. Met Jason Bonham, got to have a conversation with him, and you know, I mean, but that's Long Island, man. You know, like I was spoiled, you know, Long Island really, because the great musicians, even the homegrown musicians, you know.
I gotta admit I was too. I grew up outside of DC, and I started partying in DC when I was 16. Sorry, federal government. But you know, there was a lot of great live music in Georgetown when I was in 1983 was when they went from 18 years to 21 years to buy alcohol in DC. And my class at Wooten, we were grandfather claused in at age 18. So we were like the last batch of kids that could go down and buy beer and wine at age 18. So I started drinking at the age of 16, 17 years old, really before that. But now I'm 18 and doing it, and there's great music down in Georgetown. And then I went to college in Savannah, Georgia at an art school. And the same thing, the nightlife down in downtown Savannah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, because our school only went through Friday or through Thursday most of the time. We were partying 4 days a week. Great music. All of my friends are in bands that you wouldn't believe. My roommate, John Carrington, his band, they were called Spock Lava, like Mr. Spock, and lava, like comes out of a mountain. They did cover tunes of Ecstasy, and you closed your eyes, and it sounded exactly like Colin Partridge was singing. But it was my friend Alan Mason, who was a guitar player and the singer. The artwork with the music, along with the artwork we all did, blew my mind. That's what formed the person I am today. Is that experience of hitting that music in DC and in Savannah, and the music my parents had turned me on to. My mom was a huge Beatles fan.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys that. What did you think of the Beatles?
Oh, love them. Love the Beatles. They have some great, especially their acid rock stuff is really good.
This dude, this guy who lived across the street from me named Roberto, it was one big Italian block, and it was one family, you know, and then he was like, I think 3 or 4 years older than me. We used to buy fireworks together and stuff like that, you know, when I was like 9 or 10 years old. This dude turned me on to the Beatles, and he was a big guitarist. He had like a double neck Gibson, all this cool stuff, you know what I mean? But man, he turned me on to the Beatles, and I thought they were the best. I loved them, you know. Now, I don't listen to them too much, you know. I liked Wings too. Remember Wings?
Wings was really good. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
My mom, like I said, turned me on to that, and I can't really say what music my dad turned us all onto, but I think I turned my dad onto Santana.
Santana.
I love Santana. The one year I came home and my dad had bought the latest Santana album that he's got with that Rob. Was it Rob Zombie? Some guy named Rob was a guest singer on the album with Santana, and I'm like, "Whose is this?" My dad said, "It's mine." I'm like, "When did you like Santana?" He's like, "Oh, I've been liking them." So he must have heard a CD of mine or something, because I've played all of their stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. Something rubbed off from son to dad.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Well, that's not bad. But I you know, to be honest with you guys, I really never went to any concerts growing up. We were poor, you know. Never got to see any.
That's unfortunate, because I think some of that kind of, you know, whether it's opera or classical, hell, even like a play, some of those things, I think they give. They help mold out a person better.
I was lucky we had class trips to Manhattan, you know what I mean? Like Broadway shows and all that. they made it accessible to everybody. So that was pretty cool. My first big show was AC/DC, though. I was 16. It was for those about the rock tour, and then they were in Nassau Coliseum. So my friend Jay and I went. My mom dropped us all, and then we went inside. It was awesome, man. You know,
yeah, it seems 13, 15 is the age. Heidi's Def Leppard at 13. Mine was Jackson Browne. I was 13. The kids that taught us, I went to the pool that we belonged at. They had classes for us to become lifeguards. So I took it, and the teachers at the end of the class, when we all passed, took everyone to this concert at Meriwether Post. And then I worked at that place for 9 years. So that was my first job. And I was 13 when I started working. Can you believe that?
After the AC/DC show, I couldn't hear for like 2 days. I felt like my head was underwater.
Yeah.
But hell yeah, man. I mean, but I was in the music business, so I was going 7 days a week.
That would have been a good show, Thunderstruck.
For years, but I got so jaded. And then, you know, because I could go anywhere I wanted to go. I mean, it didn't pay anything, basically, you know, terrible money. But I got to do any show I wanted to do, and it was like, and as a writer, you know, you're trying to break the writing thing and get in there. So, you know, I was doing well with that. But I got to meet a lot of people, and it was cool.
Do you miss the music business, Mike?
I got to do bong hits with Johnny and Edgar Winter at the same time, because they were doing shows.
That
together.
Would be cool.
You know, we were on their tour bus, and they.
Do you see that over there, Michael? Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's my bass. One of the songs I was trying to learn, two of the songs I was trying to learn when I was taking lessons was Frankenstein, and the other one was Free Ride. And it turned out that Frankenstein was easier to learn how to play because we couldn't find the music, so we were pulling the music out with our ears and playing it. And we tried to do the same thing with Free Ride, but we couldn't. So we were like, well, we'll give up on that one, and we got halfway through Frankenstein before I stopped taking lessons, but. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Do you miss the music business, Dude, Michael?
No. That was a different chapter, different era. I was younger. I was, you know, I don't even like loud noises now. You know, no smoky thing, nothing, man. I mean, clubs and all the people pushing your way through because you know, clubs.
Oh,
you couldn't walk through. You had to push your way through.
There's usually a mosh pit you got to fight through to get to the toilet. Yeah. So that part, no, I wouldn't miss that at all.
At 6'5", I was able to navigate, but you're still pushing your way through. And
I'm almost 6 foot. I'm 5'9". I had trouble getting through mosh pits, dude.
Oh man,
it's obnoxious, you know. So
I hear stories of mosh pits, man.
Yeah, we had.
Oh my God!
At Sundance, and most of the clubs I went to.
We had a bar in Savannah that most of my friends' bands played at called the Velvet Elvis, and it was called the Velvet Elvis specifically because most of the artwork was paintings in velvet of Elvis, and they had a huge one over just behind the stage where all the bands played, but the bathrooms were behind the stage where the bands played. The dance floor was right in front of it and take over that whole back part of the bar. And then there was the bar and tables. So in order to get to the bathroom, you had to fight through the dance floor, mosh pit, to get to the restroom. It was a nightmare, but it was the best evening because almost all the bands that played had one or two of my friends or one or two of my roommates in it. And my one roommate, I mentioned John Carrington, I was his drum roadie. So when they played gigs, I helped him set up his drums and or helped him take them down at the end of the night. So yeah, I do miss that. I would miss that too. And then I didn't make any money off of it, but
you got to watch a show.
The nightlife was so much fun. I enjoyed the living shit out of it.
Yeah, you're part of the scene. It's fun. There was bands.
Do you guys see the difference in nightlife now compared to back when we were growing up?
I'm old, man. I don't know. I don't go out.
I was a bartender all through college, and even for a few years out of college, trying to find a career. And kids were, when I got out of college in the late 90s, kids were drinking regular alcohol. And then those energy drinks came out, and they were drinking energy drinks on top of vodka and rum and
oh god,
tequila and whatever other alcohols they
Clubs
mixed it
aren't
with.
really a big thing anymore.
So you drink one energy drink to keep you up and do your 8-hour workday. Well, these kids are drinking 3 and 4 and 5 energy drinks with alcohol, and then having keel over heart attacks at the end of the night.
Most of the big
So
clubs on Long
there's been
Island
a tremendous
have
trend in
Are there any
nightlife
big
since
clubs left anymore?
I got out of it.
I know Manhattan there's a couple, but like there used to be a lot of clubs, and they held, more than 1,000 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know a lot of them closed down.
How often do you get down into New York City? Do they still have like the big Studio 54 type rock and disco clubs?
Hammerstein's, places like that.
Yeah.
I used to work with a guy that owned, he owned the Ritz and he owned the Limelight. He owned Underground, the Palladium, places like that, like just big name places. Jerry.
Yeah,
Brandt.
I've heard of the Palladium for sure.
Jerry Brandt, nice guy. He was Carly Simon's a manager. And
oh wow!
She used to come. I was in love with her. She used to come in the club all the time, and she was hot. I was 18. You know what I mean? So I was young, but she was just gorgeous, and she was so nice, just real nice.
Is she the one that sang the song "You're So Vain" for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably think this song is about you, don't you?
Sylvester Stallone used to hang out there, and then his brother Frank. Frank and I used to talk all the time. He was a musician, man. He had a band.
I almost ran over Sylvester one time. My friend from high school now owns the house that Frank Stallone used to own.
Yeah.
In Potomac. But when Frank owned it and Sylvester lived there sometimes, one day I was driving around going back to my house in my MG. I had the top down. It was a nice, beautiful summer day. I see this tank coming down on the other side of the road. I mean, just short, wide, built dude. I mean, there wasn't anything flapping on this dude at all. And then as I got closer, I'm like, that's fucking Rambo. just drove past Rambo jogging down my street in my neighborhood.
He's not very tall, is he? Like you always imagine him being like super tall, but here's this little guy.
Yeah, it was cool.
Ingve Malmsteen was like that. When I met Ingve, I always
yeah.
Ronnie James Dio also was this little tiny guy, like I think he's 5'2", 5'3" or something. I'm 6'5".
Yeah, so I think Stallone's only like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8".
Oh, really?
He's a little shorter than I am. So
I was in an elevator with Vin Diesel, and he was like really short.
With who? Vin Diesel?
Yeah, and then after he got out, there was 2 guys left, and they started laughing at each other. I was like, "Hey, Vin, don't bump your bald head into my balls." He was gone when I said that, but it was perfect timing, man.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, entertainers, they are what they are.
Yeah, it's fun. Some of the mishaps we've had with celebrities. Did I ever tell you guys the time when I didn't meet him, but the first time I ever saw Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill?
Yeah, I heard you a couple shows ago.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That poor man was so wasted. I mean, he almost walked through a plate glass window and cut himself to ribbons.
Wow.
Yeah, he was that drunk.
Well, it looks like Heidi was a party girl when she was growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love party girls. Party guys. You know what, man? That club, I didn't work there. I didn't get paid. like I just hung out. Sometimes they needed someone to run follow spot, for the spotlight. But I would do it But man, I had some goddamn good times there. And I got to see the owner of the club, Frank Cariola, who just recently died. He was 96, just a few weeks ago. No, months ago, a couple months ago. But he, when the Village people came through, he was dancing on the bar with the Indian. Oh my fucking God, I thought I was gonna die, man. Because you had to see Frank with his cowboy boots and Long Island cowboy type of dancing on the bar. This older dude with the freaking naked Indian. I'm like, oh my God. Everybody was rolling, man. Oh my God. So there's just moments that you'll never get otherwise. You should be happy you live in them. Because man, who knows? If I grew up in Kansas or so, that wouldn't have happened. maybe I would have sought out that kind of nightlife, but like Long Island was off the hook. It was part of Manhattan, and everything that happened was just freaking crazy. I love it.
Were you ever a bouncer, Mike?
He was pretty amazing too, as far as it being an off the hook kind of party place for teenagers to learn how to, integrate alcohol and socialism.
Yeah, I did club security, man, for a short time. You know what I mean? It's crap work. It really is. You know what I mean? But
well, not necessarily. Mr. T was actually that's how he was discovered. They had several, strongest bartender or not bartenders, bouncers contests up in the Los Angeles area, and he won several of them, and that's how he got recognized for television.
You know what I learned? I learned I didn't like drunks. I didn't like hearing them, talking to them, hearing what they had to say, because they never had anything to say. And then you just throw them out. You know who I threw out? Was that douchebag from, I shouldn't call him a douchebag. The guy, remember that guy from Weird Science? Anthony Michael Hall, that dude.
Yeah, right? Oh, wow, really?
And then he was just like throwing his chest out. He was big and bad, Hollywood dude and whatever. And then he was like, blah, 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 like talking shit and putting down a couple of the other security. And I was like their shift. I was like their shift manager at that time. I walked up and trying to assess what was going on. This guy's causing a scene, like right in our doorway and all this shit. And then I'm like, what's going on? He's like, my publicist's going to hear about this, my manager, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here before I make these bouncers throw you out the back door into the garbage. We had a garbage can called the Buffalo, right? And they spray painted a Buffalo. Yeah, they would throw a dude's head first into the Buffalo, man.
Oh,
boom,
God.
You would hear that on the other side of the club. Boom. I'm like, you can go talk to the Buffalo. I was like, next 10 people get in for free. That was and I realized I didn't like that job anymore. It was, I had to get out.
we went to a bar. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but because we went to so many in DC and Georgetown, it might have been the one called Patton's. But one of them had these huge, like oak doors, like 2-inch thick, like heavy antique doors, like 9 foot tall. They're huge, like double doors. And if you really messed up, the two bouncers would grab you like a pig with your back legs bent over your ass, and they would take you out those front doors head first. And they didn't open them. You did with your skull, and then they threw you out on the sidewalk.
There was this guy
it was amazing to see. I'm like, thank God I was never an asshole when I was at a bar, or I'd have hit that door. I guarantee you.
There was this guy that wrote about us, man, and you can still find the article online. It's like haunting me fucking 35 years later. You know, it's like the criminal, sinister bouncers at the Ritz, led by that evil devil laughing in my face. And I was like, oh my God. And you realize that could be anybody, really. Because people get stupid, man. I mean, they did, dude. That club held 3,600 people. That's a hell of a lot of people, man. You know, with three floors and a whole bunch of, I think we had 6 bars. Oh my God, it was a lot. It was a lot to do. But yeah.
Well, I would love to be the cleanup person after the bar closed down, dude. All that money you'd find.
No, you had the people who lived next door.
There's not as much as you'd think, Sean.
No, there's people.
As many bars as I've closed down.
Listen to this. There's people who lived next door, upstairs to the Ritz, and then when these guys were loading, because they had to load the truck through the front door. You know what I mean? So when they were loading the truck, she would take pots of fucking boiling oil and throw it out on the roadies, man, as they're trying to get their shit. She was nuts, dude. She was nuts.
Wow.
We had a couple of cops working at the club, like off duty. You know what I mean? But then they would take care of that shit. So it was crazy. New York City was crazy. You have every type of thing.
I've been there a few times.
Has New York City calmed down any?
Huh?
New York City, has it calmed down any?
It's dangerous.
No, I don't think so.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Still dangerous.
Just crime. The crime, you know, back in the day, the crime was intended. Somebody screw somebody over or something, so would happen, whatever. Now the crime is random, you know, just you're sitting there waiting for a train, someone pushes you in front of it, or a bus, or just stab you because they want to stab you, or, you know, because they think they can, I guess. I know people have moved out of the city, they're not looking back. I know a couple people still there, but they're looking to move. It's expensive too, so it's not exactly like
Yeah, it is. It's one of the most expensive places to live. New York City is.
I don't know what the benefit is. I mean, look at San Francisco. Most of the businesses are closed. The convention centers are done. The wharf is closed. I mean, what's the incentive to be there, or why would you want to be there,
right? I don't know, man. I guess New York is close to Boston.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a 6-hour drive from New York to Boston.
I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of trouble between Boston and New York.
Connecticut. Got a lot of Connecticut. Massachusetts overall is all right. I don't think that you have a lot of terrible areas. I mean, some cool place. Plymouth. Ever been to Plymouth? Where Plymouth Rock is and all that. That's a fun area. But
we went when we were kids. My parents took us. I don't remember much of what Baltimore or what Boston looked like. But I do remember I enjoyed the trip. I mean, we had fun in the city. I don't remember what we did. It wasn't that fantastic of a trip, but other things that happened were more exciting. Niagara Falls was like what we did before Boston, so that kind of, I guess, overshined it a little bit.
Very narrow streets, so it's kind of hard to get around.
Well, my dad, we were driving my grandfather's RV, and my dad struck the nut on a fire hydrant, and it gouged a 2-foot hole in the side of my grandfather's RV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Had he gone another inch or two, he would have taken out one of the hinges to the door and the only door in or out of the RV, and we would have been stuck in that thing until they got us out. So that's
Let
all I
me ask
remember
you guys
about Boston.
this question off the bat, since we got about, 10 minutes?
About 7, 8 minutes.
Do you think this world will ever get better?
We keep hearing about, yes, it will, from, almost every religious text has some sort of, Garden of Eden after the end of the Armageddon stories. And some people are saying that, 2030 is that crux. And at some point, it's going to get really, really bad. And then after some point, 2030 maybe, it's going to get really, really good. So I would like to think so.
It's up to people to make it good.
Yeah.
So
that would be nice. I'm tired of this world.
It's the manifestation of what people want. And I think that if everybody got together, that would be a very powerful force. But then you see these little puppets, a Putin or this or that, in control, destroying people's lives and killing people, and they're at the top. It just makes you wonder. Why is it like that? Why can't you just take the person out, completely? It's not impossible, but I think that people are afraid of that force. There's a force behind it, right? It's not just politics; it's a force, So why do people allow themselves to be abused? Instead of doing something about it, or they feel like they can't, they're stuck. I'll tell you this crazy story. I probably shouldn't even admit it, but when I was that guy Roberto I hang out with, so we used to buy fireworks from this dude who lived down the block. We were there one time buying some firecrackers and stuff, and the guy whips out this handgun and shows it to me. And he's like, "You want to buy it? It's $50." I'm like, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah, it's a 38, some revolver, $50." I'm like, "Man." At the time I was being abused. My step grandfather, my father, they were terrible people, and then my mom too. And I'm like, I said to my friend Roberto, I'm like, I could protect my mom with this, And then I was gonna go home and get like my birthday money, try to scrap up whatever I got to go and give it to that dude to buy that gun. And I never did, but I kind of feel like if I did, it would have changed a hell of a lot. But isn't that terrible that a little kid has to think like that? You know what I mean? And at that time, there was no CPS, there was no nothing.
Well, no, it doesn't sound strange at all. That's like the common human conundrum. The movie Trading Places kind of deals with that, where they talk about nature versus nurture, and these two rich guys decide that they're going to ruin these two dudes' lives. They take the one rich guy and make him a pauper, and the one poor dude, they turn him into super rich guy, and they just transpose each other. And like you said about buying the gun, the guy who was once rich, Dan Aykroyd, when he's now poor, he goes to a pawn shop and he sells his watch for money because he doesn't have any, and he's trying to sell it for like $5,000. The guy's going to give him $50, and the first thing he decides to buy with it, he goes, "Oh, how much for the gun?"
There you go.
So
survival, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't do it, and then, all those people are dead anyway. You know what I mean? Like they aged out, and then some of them even suffered terribly at the end. So good for them, And I knew the psychic, and then we're taking her to an investigation. I picked her up, and we're cruising there, and then she just starts reading me out of the blue, as I'm driving, and she's like, "There's two males that can't move on because of you, because you haven't forgiven them, and they're stuck. They can't move on." And I'm like, you know what? Fuck them both.
Yeah.
I knew, and you know what? When she said that, I knew exactly who they were. Man. The two people that terrorized me most. Because you terrorize women and children, you don't leave this earth so easily.
No, you don't.
So people gotta pay the price. Forgiveness, it's none of my business. I forgave myself a long time ago for allowing these people to do this, and it may sound weird, but I felt like it was within my power to stop it, and I, as a kid, I don't know, man. I hear, I hear these stories from family members, all the shit they did when they were young. You stand up for yourself. They were tough, man. They had to be tough. They were tough, especially when it was like they're going through the depression and all that. Things were really, I don't even think we can fathom what they were going through, you know what I mean? But man, I don't know. But I dedicated my life to fighting scumbags like those. And you know what? The Archdiocese was in our town, Catholic Archdiocese, and everybody knew what was going on. My teachers knew, the cops knew, all these psychiatrists, psychologists, and whatever. They all knew, and they all knew that I was being terrorized, and seriously abused, physically abused, mentally, whatever. Did nothing. You gotta trust in God. Well, I think if I trusted in the 38, that would have gotten me more justice.
Yeah.
I could have stuck it in some people's faces and said, you touch me again, I'm gonna die. And that was what going through my mind a million times. I didn't sleep at night because my step-grandfather used to threaten to kill us in our sleep. And my mom put a string across the hallway with a bell attached to it. In case someone came up, we would hear it. My room was first, right there. And then I had to put my dresser in front of the door. I had these Radio Shack headset that my mom had got me for Christmas a while back, so I would keep one in my ear and one not, so I could listen to what was going on the door. This would happen every night till 5:30 in the morning, and then I'd have to wake up for school an hour later, and then that's your day, So, but nobody was there for us when I was a kid, and then I made a point of it for being there to people now. You know what I mean?
You're a good person, Michael.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's just revenge. I don't know if it's good. I think it's revenge against evil, making people suffer who are scumbags, and they deserve it.
No, that's karma. That's the way it's supposed. If you do someone wrong, it comes back on you tenfold, doesn't it?
That should be my new name, Karma.
Welcome
to Karma.
Welcome to Karma. Hey, Mike, this is for you from Roseanne. This is a question from Roseanne to you.
Yeah.
Is the mob still heavy in New York City?
Oh yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah. Which one? I mean, there's Russian and
Yeah, I think it's a whole mix of different mobs.
You got the Yakuza, and then in Chinatown you got the triads. Man, nothing happens without triads, knowing about it. But the Italian mob, they just, what they are now, man? Big business. A lot of them bought old spaghetti factories back in the day for $1, and now they're worth millions of dollars. It's weird because they kind of became legitimate by owning all this stuff, but then as things change, I think, and plus a lot of the old ones died off, and the younger ones aren't as smart or aren't as with, like John Gotti, his son John Jr. He was real, not very intelligent, and I'd go to the same clubs the guy would go to, and I knew Victoria really well. We went to NYU at the same time. So, and then I wanted to date her, man. I was like, man, I love Victoria. She's so freaking hot. My uncle's like, don't you dare go out with her. Don't you dare. He's like, don't you know who her father is, you stupid idiot?
Why? So what? Nah, I would have tried.
Her father's John Gotti, It's like, you know what? you know what? I'm like, he was always nice. All the people, to me, they were always very nice type of people. You know what I mean? But you didn't hear about the underside, and then but then you start running into people from those groups, and you realize they're not such nice people. But they'll take anything from you, and most of them are like broke. These mafia dudes, because the big guys make the money. The lower guys, they're the ones who have to do all the grunt work. But then they allow them gamble or do drugs or whatever, so they piss their money. You ever see The Sopranos?
That's all some of it, yeah.
How close is that to The Sopranos, to the mob?
I think that those, that's the way things work. That if you involve the mafia in your life, you're going to pay. If it's your business and they're looking out for you, make sure nobody messes with you, you're going to pay. I mean, no matter what, you're going to pay big time. And then once they're like leeches, once they're a part of you can't break free. So it's not really advantageous to do business,
Heidi has a question. Staten Island, wasn't there a mob family Next Generation show for a bit?
Next Generation? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know the Gaudis had their show, man.
Didn't John Gotti's wife have a show on TV for a little bit?
Nah, the Victoria show. Some kind of show. She owns a nail salon place up in Huntington, on Long Island, man. I mean, but you know what's funny? The mob women, you can see what the life had done to them. They're very hard, and they a lot of them don't even have their femininity intact. It's a very tough life. You know what I mean? So it's a life of crime. It's crime. Yeah, that's all the way to say it. So you got all these cops who dedicate themselves to bringing down criminals, and there's a lot of people who give the mafia a pass too, saying that that like they run numbers. It's like their own lottery system. And then New York State comes along and does it legitimately, but yet the mafia is wrong. But I get it, man. You gotta pay attention to the rules and whatever. We at my father's gas station, we always had guys come through selling stuff off the back of the truck. You know what I mean?
Never been used. It only dropped once.
Steaks and lobsters and things like that.
Yep.
Really high end stuff, not like the fakes like you get in the city.
Yep. The old fell off the truck ploy.
Yeah, I don't think much of that even happens anymore, does it?
No.
No.
In Pittsburgh, that's how we got a lot of our clothes when we were growing up. My dad got a car would park up next to the Pittsburgh Press, and he would buy shit from the trunk. That's how we got clothes.
That's how I got sunglasses. That's how I got my pyramid equalizer. Remember those things?
The what?
Pyramid equalizer and Tancredi speakers. That was like a big deal, man. For car audio. So they were really nice little amplifiers. Only maybe 40 or 50 watts, but they were great.
No, I never did too much that kind of stuff with my car. So that wouldn't have been a cool thing. But I lost my train of thought. Damn it!
Yeah, you could hear me coming back in the day. My friends knew when to get ready because they hear me a couple miles away. But between the motor, because I had a Z28, so between the motor and then between the bass, But and like
so your car was one of them thumper cars.
One of those ones that goes, yeah. I never understood that.
Like really good music, So I'd be playing Rush or Led Zeppelin. You'd be hearing me coming, man.
Yeah, but sometimes those cars would drive by and all you can hear is da-doom, da-doom, da-doom. You couldn't make out what song it was.
I didn't like the subwoofers, but I like the woofers, man. So I like the bass, but I don't like the sub bass, But I had a pretty. Camaro was very hard cars to put speakers in.
Yeah, I had one.
Area. Yeah, so I had some bazookas in the back, and then a couple of other things, but it was cool. Probably I can't hear because of that these days, man. My permanent tinnitus, hearing damage, whatever. But those were the good old days, man. You know what I mean?
Those were the good old days.
It's hard to work on cars nowadays. You have to be a computer analyst and know how to turn a wrench at the same time. In high school, I had an MGB. I did all the work on it except for like really hard stuff like the engine work and transmission work. I changed the alternator. I changed the I couldn't do the brakes. I'm sorry, I couldn't do the clutch because it's underneath the engine, but I redid the clutch master cylinder, all the peripheral stuff. I did all that kind of. I did a radiator. I put a new roof on it. Everything. You can't do that with cars nowadays. There's so many computer controls and different,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just you have to be again a registered, computer analyst.
The best car I loved was a '73 Chevy Impala.
Nice. My dad had a couple of those. I like those too.
Gotta love an Impala.
I remember my dad had a huge '63 white Impala, and I don't know. I don't remember if it was convertible or not, but I do remember. No, it couldn't have been because on the headliner was where the shoulder straps were for the seatbelt system. They weren't. They wasn't part of an integrated system. You had to put it on yourself. And then I was like 5 or 6 years old. I could stand up on the seat and not touch the ceiling. That's how big the car was.
Yeah, when I was young, like teenager, maybe, probably around until I was 20, it was all Mopar, all of it, man. Had big 440s, things like that. It was just big block Mopar was my deal. And then, because it was cheap too, like $300, you buy a Dodge Charger, I wish I had them now. Everybody says the same thing.
Yeah.
I wish I had them now,
But
then I got into Camaros and Firebirds, and I realized there was light, low to ground, a lot of horsepower, man, just really cool, and fun to drive, So that was my next.
I had a '99 Camaro. It was a lot of fun. It was only a V6, but
I had an IROC Z28, 1989.
Nice.
1989.
Yes, that was a nice car.
Yeah, they
I like
were.
that body style. I like the older one too. Late '70s. That was my thing.
Yeah, '69 RS was my favorite model year.
They were easy to change motors. I took a 307 or some crap like that. Yanked that thing out. We put a 400 in there with a 4-bolt main. And then my friend's brother used to work at this place called Motion. They would build all kinds of funny cars and whatever. But these Long Island guys that had a lot of money would go in there and drop 40, 50,000, literally. I mean, even back then in the 80s, on their car to put, the best engine and whatever. But they'd be coming in with these amazing Corvettes and whatever. So the engine they're taking out is a great engine. We would get those engines for free practically, and then put them in our cars and then just drag race and blow them up there. That was the day. It was quarter mile at Sunrise Highway in Rockville Center between two traffic lights, exactly a quarter mile, and there was a long parking lot for the train. So we would hang out and that was Friday and Saturday night, man. Every Friday, Saturday night. We're hanging out there racing, and these dudes would come up, these little kind of Japanese cars, like man. And we'd be out there with our big blocks or whatever. And at that time, I was into 350s, man. 350 and just worked them to the balls. A lot of compression, Put tunnel rams on there or Dominators or whatever we had. But man, it was the good old days,
Yeah, they just don't make cars like they used to anymore. It's unfortunate.
In Brooklyn, you go to Crescent Avenue, they're still drag race, but they do have funny cars. They pull out these alcohol burners. That guy Big Al has his whole racing team go there, and then there's the cops, New York City PD, and they can't really do anything because you got 1,000 racers, and they just bolt down the road. Probably the least of their worries in Brooklyn, in that area especially. But we had fun days back in the day, man. It's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not loose anymore. Things are too tight. And, I don't know. It's not. They took all the fun out of it.
We got to get going here, dude.
We do got to get going. Maybe with Michael's wish, Trump will make things better again, and we can go back out to drag racing.
I'd love to see Trump make things better again. I want to see him get past all the talk, and I want to see some action.
Yeah, let's see some walk now. He's done the talk. Let's see the walk.
Where's our check? That's what I want. Our check.
I'm right there with you, man. All right, guys. Good night.
$5,000. I'm gonna say I'm waiting.
Thanks for everybody showing up. It was a great show. We will catch you on the flip side.
Don't forget the chat
about abuse.
Yeah, and Saturday tomorrow with a chat. We'll all be back for that. And then Michael Angley at 10. And so don't forget to miss that.
What time's our show tomorrow? 7:30.
Let's say on a serious note to anybody out there who's being abused or whatever. You know what? there's an end to it. You know what I mean? And
yeah, we'll do 7:30 to 10, and then Michael will take over from 10 on. All right. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Yeah.